of you that are in the chat, the StreamYard chat room there. We're hanging out. Appreciate you. Good to have you on board as well. Let's have a conversation. Let's relax. Let's enjoy our Friday together. It's good to be back in studio. I felt good driving into work. I was like, all right. There are people moving about. You know, Tom, we all love, well, I say we all. We, you and I, so therefore it's everybody. Love winter. Love the cool weather. Get tired of the oppressive heat that is in place for, 9-10 months out of the year in Florida. So we root for it. And then we got a real dose. And I think we were both kind of like, all right, well, that's enough. That's okay. Let's move it along here.
I'd have zero problem with it if we had the infrastructure to open up the next day or just operate while it's going on. But since we don't, 1 day is enough. If you want to give me a day, all right, we can do remote stuff for a day.
Sure.
You get into 48 hours. Now we're touching 60. Nah, man, it's time to go. But it was wild. I had not been on the roads yet. I know you had beaten me to that.
Mm-hmm.
I had not been on the roads yet. And to drive on Monroe and see all of the snow drifts, so to speak, I'll call them that, but all these little piles of snow and ice.
Bizarre.
Even our parking lot. I saw you parked in the ice.
I purposely did.
You decided, screw that ice.
I'm not worried about it.
Slide and I slide.
Ice doesn't bother me. Can bring it ice. I'm coordinated.
You have all-wheel drive in that?
I do, and I'm not just going to fall down.
Well, what I'm saying is the car sliding.
Yeah.
You got the AWD. I don't.
Do.
I've got to look. In fact, the road exiting to Monroe, did you see the one going towards the light down the hill?
Oh, yeah, not good.
I'm not looking forward to that. We're going to see how that goes.
I rather enjoyed watching people. It was great. But I will, heads up, everybody. There is talk, from what I understand, and I'm not a weatherman. I'll play an amateur weatherman today on a loosey-goosey Libations Friday. We're hearing, some folks are saying our audio is a little off. I don't know.
Yeah, it's fine now. Your camera used to default to mute, and it doesn't anymore, and it defaulted to mute, the one in your studio, for years.
And it doesn't
in the last 2 weeks, it's just decided that, no, I'm always going to have sound. And so I got to add it to the checklist every day.
Well, we're good now.
We're good now. We're fine.
Thanks for people in the chat saying, hey, guys, the audio sucks.
I mean, that camera for years was already with the slash line through it, and now it's just decided it wants to be a part of the party, and we got to tell it, no, you don't belong here.
Well, we're good now. We're good now. Anyhow, the point I was about to make is that I'm told that we've got this same weather, like actual snow and sleet and ice, happening 2 weeks from right now.
Is that right?
Another one of these. Like, all the conditions are ripe and perfect for it to happen again. This town won't know what to do. And you're right. Here's the thing. It's funny. It's all fun and games. It was cool. We all had our social media video posts and everything else as the snow came down and the sleet and the ice and all of it. But then, you know, when everything's closed and you can't even go up to, you know, the grocery store to get the basic necessities, then you're kind of like, hey, man, not cool.
2 weeks from now. My guess is President's Day, if your kids have off in this town for President's Day, now they don't, because you've lost quite a few days of productivity. You don't have school from home. There's no virtual learning system here. They do that in Atlanta all the time. I know you've got family up there. I do as well. They've already got that built in because of snow that they've had in the past few years. COVID helped move that process along. So they'll just convert to a virtual day. No big deal. Not here. So if you've got plans for President's Day, be careful. You might not anymore. They might have school open on Monday.
Well, I love my kids, but I'm done with them. There have been way too many days of us together, all in a row, every second of every day. It's a bit much, Tom, because we haven't been able to come into the studio to get away and perform our work duties here. You never really realize how much of a break you need. Just, there's a lot of chatter when you got kids in the house. You guys with kids know this. It's a bit much, and it's good. You get the solemn solitude, the moment you get in the car, you're like, oh, ooh, all right, a respite. I don't have to do this or go attend to that or break up that. Everything's going to be okay. And so we don't need any more days off. That weather system could miss us. Park Your Ass Sunday. We have a Park Your Ass Sunday for sure. I think if we were kind of drawing it up, obviously Washington's the surprise. But everybody else we figured would be where they are, with maybe the exception being that the possibility of supplanting Buffalo with Baltimore or whatever, whichever side of the fence you came down on with that one. We knew that this would look pretty normal here. But now the intrigue is very real because you said it last week. We now just accept that Jaden Daniels isn't having a great year for a rookie. He's just freaking great. Like, this isn't anymore. Like, he's just great, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in football. That's it. That's all. It's amazing. I think it's an understatement to say that. Like, he's been that kind of awesome.
Yeah, he's unflappable in a way that's just not normal. Now, I suppose there could be a regression to very good. There could be, but I don't think there's going to be a regression to can't play the game.
No.
Or looks uneven. I think the regression will be to above average. Right now, he doesn't know failure. They lost a bunch of games this year. It's just the way he plays. He doesn't fear anything. And that is a very, very tough deal, especially when the quarterback can outrun your secondary. So, he breaks the pocket and he's not worried about anything. That's dangerous, man. That is not cool if you're the opponent.
Oh, it's not cool if you're a fan of a team in the NFC, because you're just looking at this guy and kind of marking that path to the future. You're saying, well, man, he's going to be better than my guy. No matter who your guy is in the NFC, you're looking at him going, he's going to be better than my guy. And it's interesting because you got a game between, obviously division rivals, but also quarterback conversations fascinating there. It's the strangest thing in the world when you go back and really look at the path for both these guys. But in particular, the conversation that centers around Jalen Hurts right now is interesting. He's thrown for less than, 200 yards total in these two games combined in the playoffs? I know that
I know his stat line was identical to Allen's last week. It's 50% passes, 120 yards or thereabouts.
Yeah. There's a difference in how they go about that, however, my friend. One wasn't asked to do much because they could control the football in the run game and check down, and you can't turn the ball over against Baltimore. Buffalo was the best in the NFL this year in turning people over and not committing turnovers themselves. They'll have to be that again against Kansas City. So the message has been relayed like, hey, Josh, I know you got all the throws, but let's be cool here, man. These teams are really good, and the turnover battle is deciding games, so don't do it. And you really can say that was the difference in the game between Buffalo and Baltimore. One of them threw a crucial pick, moreover, had a crucial fumble, and the other didn't.
Yeah, that's where, Mark Andrews went to social media, finally took to social media late this week about what he's been going through. He felt sick over it. And if you're the quarterback in that moment, and I know Lamar took to the dais immediately, he was available to the media where Mark Andrews was not because he was distraught. You can easily point to, hey, guys, look at me. I mean, these mistakes I made are well. He did. But just
it really well.
Take it away. Because yes, he makes two critical errors in very high profile times, but we know in the formative moments of that game, Baltimore could have been ahead by 7 or 10 for much of it if it weren't for Lamar's first couple of turnovers.
That's what I'm saying. That's the whole thing. Yeah. And he did a good job of that. I really thought he's grown a lot, man. But
easy to root for.
Yeah, he is. By the way, A.J. Brown has a grand total of 3 receptions in the playoffs, no touchdowns, and is steady holding up that book. I could just picture a scenario by which he's just incensed. They don't throw the ball, and I don't think that Jalen Hurts doesn't look healthy. Now, I'm not even talking about the latest knee situation. He doesn't look right. Something's not right. I mean, think back to that performance in the Super Bowl. It's one of the great all-time performances in a Super Bowl game. It happened to be in a loss, unfortunate for him, but it was incredible. Like, it was revelatory. We couldn't believe what we were witnessing. Pinpoint accuracy, on the move, every throw in the bag, dropping it in the bucket. He had the side. He had it all. That guy hasn't been seen since. And it's troubling for Philly fans because what do? You've just gave him the money. He's making $51 million.
At least he hasn't forgotten how to run people over.
Yep.
At least he hasn't forgotten how to run by people. And at
Can't
least
do that now.
I think if they're getting into a situation in an NFC championship game.
Yeah, but how effective as a runner will he be? Because if you're Washington, that's the whole thing. Make him throw it.
Yeah.
Bare front, stack the box. You and Saquon are not going to beat us. You got to throw it.
It's still going to come down to the read defender. You can scheme around it to where you put Saquon and Jalen together. It's a mesh point. It's a decision. Now, he has to be near perfect in those moments to ride or keep.
Well, and Saquon's averaging in the last 5 games 29 touches a game.
But they're
going to give him the ball.
That's where the modern, NFL does have college principles, which is I'm going to not block somebody, and they're going to have to make a choice. And if they make the wrong choice, it's a gain of 4. And if they make a really bad choice behind him at the second level, it's a gain of 40.
Well, he's gone. Yeah. Well, Philly will stick to it. They've shown they don't care. Like, they're going to run the ball. He can get stuffed 7 plays in a row, and they're like, yeah, nope, still running. One of these is going to pop. And he's a game changer. We can talk about quarterbacks, but Jake Elliott is 2 of 5 on extra points in the playoffs. 2 of 5, my man.
I know.
What are we out here doing?
No, he would have had a Mark Andrews-like experience if the Rams did complete that comeback drive and kick the extra point, and it was all she wrote. People would have been talking about him in Philly the way that Mark Andrews was getting attention in Baltimore on Monday.
Liam Cohen reverses course and takes the job with the Jags. We talked yesterday about that situation in Jacksonville where it was almost comical because they were doing these interviews, and it was thought by many experts covering the NFL that Bill Belichick was interested in that job, that there had been 2 or 3 other candidates that expressed interest behind the scenes, basically had their agents reach out and say, hey, I wouldn't mind the Jacksonville job. I think I can fix Trevor. I think I got a decent enough running game. I've got an emerging star receiver who was a rookie this past year and put up good numbers despite the inefficiencies of the offense. I think there's enough there. They're not too far removed from Doug Peterson's wins into the playoffs, into the run that saw them go to KC and put together a good performance. I'll take that job, except for I kind of hate your GM, and I don't want to work with him. Well, apparently Liam Cohen said as much and came back to Tampa and said, well, look, man, I mean, they really want me. How about some scratch? Bucks said, yeah, we don't want to lose you. The offense looked phenomenal this year. We're on the right path. We'll make you one of the highest paid assistant coaches or coordinators in all of football. He said, cool. I won't go to Jacksonville. Shad Khan got on the phone and said, what if I fired that a-hole? Would you take my job then? Because the one thing you said was that you wanted the job, but you didn't want to work with him. I just fired him. You want the job?
I'm calling your bluff, Liam.
And here's the problem. It's a problem for the Bucks. It's a bad look for Liam. I don't necessarily care about that, but what is interesting is how many different stories have come out about it's felt like he did him dirty, that he lied about what he was doing when they could not get a hold of him yesterday as they desperately tried to reach out. Now, I don't know what's what. He is said to have been with his son who was under the weather in the hospital, like it was a big deal. And they came out and said, hey, hold on a second. He wasn't around his phone. Yet the timelines, the math ain't mathing. Because the timelines don't add up. It sure looks like he would have had to have been having work conversations with Jacksonville at the time that he said he was with his kid in the hospital.
And now his wife has gone to social media.
Which is never good.
Right?
It's never good in the history of these sorts of things. A wife fighting on behalf of her husband in a prominent role anywhere, publicly in the press these days, social media, never ends well.
Same goes for a parent or a husband. Anytime there's a family member that gets involved, you're saying, man, I don't know. Because what if he was in Jacksonville and he finally picks up the phone? He goes, hello? Liam, where are you? Mr. Khan will see you now. I'm getting tires done. I'll be right back.
Well, we haven't had Lita Kemper on in a long time, but I called him today and said, hey, let's get some clarity surrounding this issue. So at the bottom of the hour, he's going to join us, and I'm going to ask him what they're hearing. I mean, if you think about it, and I'll ask this point, if you're a Bucs fan listening to this, if you're a Jags fan, I think you got a really good offensive mind, and that goes all the way back to the success that Cohen had in Kentucky. at Kentucky. And really, Kentucky hasn't been the same since he left. And he had 2 different stints there and did really well. And then obviously hit the ground running in Tampa Bay. And he's a rising star in the business. Hence, he gets the job to be a head coach. Now, we'll see. Some guys are great coordinators and not good head coaches. The argument about being a head coach as opposed to a coordinator is that they're different in one very specific way. Obviously, you have to lead an entire team instead of just an offense, and you're not just in a meeting room and studying film and implementing an offense, but you're the leader of men, the entirety of a locker room and an organization. They turn their eyes to you. You got to be the guy. And not everybody's equipped with that. Some people are really good at being coordinators and not being great head coaches. But we've also seen plenty of coordinators rise through the ranks, finally get their shot, and do very well. He might. I don't know. I do know that I think I'd be excited if I were Jacksonville, if I paid close attention to what he's done wherever he's been on offense, because I want my quarterback fixed. I've already committed the money to the man. He ain't going anywhere. We got to fix him. So you got an offensive mind to fix him. It's a little bit like what they're doing in Chicago. You drafted a quarterback number 1. When you're interviewing coaches, there were a lot of candidates. There was no way they were going to go defensive. They just got a young quarterback. They got to make sure they make every effort to see him succeed. And that's why they went the route they did with the coordinator from Detroit. So you get it. But when they were looking to hire coaches, I kept thinking to myself, well, if you're Jacksonville, you kind of got to go offense again. You really do. And they just tried it with Doug, but you got to do it again.
Yeah, I think he's in an interesting and advantageous position as Cohen, because obviously they had to throw the kitchen sink at him, first of all.
Oh, and they're going to let him hire the GM.
Right. But then that also means he's going to get a crack at a second quarterback if it doesn't work with Lawrence in 2 years.
Because it wasn't his.
Right. So you get this chance to either improve the guy you have on hand, where most coaches would get fired if you can't fix the current quarterback. He'll get a crack at drafting one in 2 years, and he'll be able to see whether that one works out or not. So you're going to get 2 swings at it in Jacksonville with a GM that you want, potentially 2 quarterbacks if you need them. If you don't and you fix Lawrence, you're fine.
Yeah.
But then from the Bucs perspective, I think any offensive coordinator who is looking towards an NFL gig really wants those weapons that Tampa has. He wants to be the guy that gets to take over after Cohen, because a lot of things are humming. You don't have to change a whole lot. And you've got a good O-line. You've got good young players. You got a quarterback who's playing at the highest level he has. Nice position to be, interviewing for the Bucs job. If you're a coach who gets that interview, you really want that job.
It's interesting. They're in a bit of a dilemma. I mean, the Bucs are going to be hiring their 4th offensive coordinator in 4 years. That's crazy. That's and they've had success with 2 of them. Obviously, both now went on to become head coaches. Canales, it was good. He wasn't Cohen good, but he was good. He certainly helped fix Baker Mayfield. And then he got the gig in Carolina. We'll see what happens. They look like they're on the mend a little bit there at quarterback. And then the Bucs went with Cohen, and obviously he, boom, took off. This offense really took off. Now, in fairness to Canales, he didn't have Bucky, and Bucky is, one of the elite rookies
the Bucs
in the
fortified the line to get his center. Even though Barton was so-so, he was a lot better than what they were dealing with.
Yeah.
McMillan obviously helped as well.
Good conversation that we'll have with Lee, because if you think about the assistants and you think about Todd Bowles, the head coach, he's lukewarm, embraced in Tampa. It's lukewarm, and I think it has everything to do with the fact that the Bucs defense isn't very good. So you're like, man, this would be true if you were an offensive-minded head coach and your offense wasn't good. This is the way it works. If the side of the ball that you're the expert on isn't good, you get second-guessed. I mean, that's how that goes. On the other hand, he's had to make both of these last 2 hires of OCs, and he's swung and hit a home run in both.
Yeah, I think some of these things are fair and some aren't.
Right.
They clearly invested in the offense to fix the offense. That's where the capital is gone. And it's kind of make the best out of not great draft picks at edge, make the best out of a secondary that's constantly hurt, make the best out of a linebacker core that has one good player.
Mm-hmm.
Devin White flopping hurt. It's at that position back. They haven't fixed it yet. And do what you can with it, Todd. And that would be how I come to his defense.
But this year he's going to get the gift of we're drafting all defense.
100%. Well, where I would come for Todd is I'd say, why do we look like we don't care 4 times a year?
And why do we mismanage the end of football games? Always. Yeah. Always. You're the head coach. How come we can't do anything in the last 2 minutes of a half or at the end of a game? Why do we look like we're completely baffled as to how to properly manage a clock and timeouts? That's a problem, man. Let's get it together. Those are fair criticisms. And the whole thing about your defense not being any good is a fair criticism. Like, stop the forward pass every now and again.
And also, if you're up 2 scores or more with under 4 minutes to go, get you guys out. Stop.
Well, that's a league-wide problem. That's not a Todd Bowles problem. That's a league-wide problem.
But it is also a Todd Bowles problem.
Well, he's in the league, Tom. He's in the league.
He is.
He is in the league.
Is in that league.
He's in the league. I got some Knowles stuff to get to, too. I have a question. It's going to be kind of a fun conversation. It's not going to be contemplating the mindset of our head coach, per se, and it's not going to be a look back. It's going to be a look forward, but I'll get to some of that as well this hour and into next. We got almost 3 hours, gang. We got plenty of time. Lita Kemper, JoeBucksFan.com. Going to join us next. Jeff Cameron, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Did you know that the survivability of a metal roof far exceeds that of a traditional shingle roof? At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we have new state-of-the-art roll formers that produce the highest quality Versa panel, PBR panel, and standing seam options. And we will guarantee to match or beat any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123, or visit us online at metalroofingsales.net.
Florida man, what's wrong this time?
Well, it's my alligator Hank again. It's so dang cold, he's been digging all these holes in my backyard trying to find some heat to keep himself warm. He doesn't want to come out to eat, so I have to yank him by his tail. Now my back is killing me again.
Poor Hank. I'm really sorry about your back pain.
You have any idea how hard it is to pull an alligator out of his heat hole when it's colder than the polar bear's toenails outside? Not to mention the added weight of the gold chain I bought Hank last year for his birthday.
Well, it's time to get you back in to see the doctors at Penn Chiropractic. You can book your appointment online, so there's no waiting in the cold.
You're right again. Look out, Dr. Finn. I'm coming in hot.
At Finn Chiropractic, they'll get to the root of your pain and deliver the solutions. Book your appointment online at finchiro.com, and you'll even get an online discount. Visit finchiro.com today and find your path to a pain-free tomorrow.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLR 373031.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Jeff Cameron Show rolling on a Libations Friday. Loosey-goosey. Hope you are well. Thanks for tuning in. I did not see the question there, Marcus, as we try to track down Lee DeKemper, JoeBucksFan.com. We're going to need to get him. Tom assures me. He gave me a finger
He
point.
gave me an okay when I said I'm texting, and then it goes straight to voicemail. So I'm going to keep trying.
Come on, Lee. Let's go, buddy. It's your time. Not many people get this time on the JCS. Let's go. Marcus says, I ask because it's a loosey-goosey edition of the show. I'm on a quest to get an FSU player jersey for each NFL team. Can you give me an FSU player for all 32 teams? Well, goodness gracious, I don't know. That's we'd be here a while. It might make for boring radio, but I can certainly. There are sites, and I think Tom probably just sent you one. If you go, and this is kind of fun to do, by the way. We all probably do this on our own, but you can go to Pro Football Reference, Florida State players / alumni. You can find that, and then just start going through every Florida State player that's ever been in the NFL. And then obviously you would look here to the more recent, I don't know which guys, what's kind of fun to do is go down memory lane, see some guys that you forgot were in the league, see some guys that, really, really had great college football careers and then either shined in the NFL or kind of flamed out, or guys that had average to substandard careers at FSU and went on to have better pro careers. And there's a ton of those too, which is always fun. But that's where we would tell you to go, Marcus, profootballreference.com. You can type in for schools, you can type in Florida State, and it will give you a list of every single player that has ever played in the league that played at Florida State. There he is. It's Lee DeKemper, JoeBucksFan.com. We haven't talked in a long time. Good to get this guy on. There's a lot happening with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Lee, how the hell are you, brother?
Jeff, long time no talk, as you mentioned. I appreciate it. Always appreciate chatting with you and with Tom and the time. Everything's great down here. Well, I won't say great. I'll just say busy.
It's funny. I don't know where to start right now because today's news is probably very frustrating for most Bucs fans. I really thought Liam Cohen had tapped into something. The Bucs offense was kind of a joy to watch this year. The progression of that offense, where we think this thing was going, you feel like they're just starting to scratch the surface and his imagination and the areas that they can get better at and all of that, and then he's gone. But it's the norm in Tampa Bay these days. I mean, what's that, 4 and 4 years they're going to be hiring now? And, let's start at the top, and then we'll get to Liam Cohen. Let's start with Todd Bowles. My impression of the fan base's view of Todd Bowles is that they kind of like him and they kind of don't. That sounds sort of mealy-mouthed and not really a good definition, but am I right? Are they just sort of lukewarm on Todd Bowles?
Lukewarm in some cases is overstated. Yeah, you're perfectly right. If it sounds mealy mouth, that's not an inaccuracy. Some days the Bucs fans, they love him. Some days like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this guy's still the coach. We have to move on. And there are other times that we had any kind of coach, we'd have a winning record. Oh, by the way, we've got 10 wins. People are really on the fence with him, depending on how they wake up in the morning, which side of the bed they roll out of. They're either pro Bowles or anti Bowles. Well, I can tell you, generally speaking, they don't like his personality. A lot of fans, and you probably get this as well. A lot of fans, they want a cartoon character. They want the John Gruden. They want the guy who's fired up on the sidelines because fans are passionate, and fans want to see that same passion in the people that are making 7 figures running their team. So I understand that, but I also fully embrace that some of the greatest football coaches who ever walked the sideline were a sphinx.
Yeah.
like Tom Landry or Chuck Noll, guys like that, Bill Walsh. But yeah, fans are really not indifferent. It depends how the Bucks play, and if they win, they're okay. Well, we can tolerate him. He's okay guy. If they lose, they're against him. I think they like the fact that he's a good dude, Bowles is, and he runs a clean program, meaning you rarely see any Bucks players doing stupid crap outside of football. They like that.
Well, I think, yes, he's boring. I mean, he's pretty damn boring.
Yeah.
And that's, yes, you're right. That always rubs people the wrong way when they see their coach in a press conference after an emotional win or loss, and he seems sort of indifferent. We know inside he's not indifferent, but he outwardly projects somewhat indifference, and that can frustrate people. I think there are so many things that are true that are a star or a feather in the cap of Todd Bowles, but I also think there are more than a couple of things you could point to that would drive you nuts about Todd Bowles. I think his end of game time management, timeout management, clock management in general is a travesty. It's routinely on display, the depths of the stupidity we witness in terms of mismanagement of time. And then I think what really hurts him, and this would hurt any coach, is that his side of the ball kind of sucks. I mean, if that's the area of your expertise, and if you're an offensive coach, an offensive guru, and your offense stinks, you don't get the credit for the wins the way you would if your offense was the reason for it. And if you're a defensive-minded head coach and your defense doesn't get stops and you keep winning games, you don't get the credit for that either because your unit isn't very good. Is that fair?
That's not just fair. That's absolutely accurate. If you're a defensive guy and specifically you're a secondary guy, he was a safety in the NFL. He coached defensive back through his early years in the NFL. That's your realm of strength, so to speak. And you're getting lit up in the pass defense like they have been in the past, not just this year, the last 2 years. That's not a good thing. If you're winning because of the other side of the ball, which is true, you take if Dave Canales is still here, I don't think the Bucks win 10 games. I'm not sure they even make the playoffs. I'm not knocking Canales, but Cohn was that much better. Cohn got that much more out of his players. And if you're winning because of your offense and you're a defensive guy and your pass defense is one of the worst in the league, that is not good. That's not just fair. That's accurate.
I'm curious what the Bucks will do. Will they hire from in-house? We know that Liam Cohen cannot take but one assistant with him. There are NFL rules in place that don't allow you to take guys that you've brought on board as OC or DC. You can't do it. So they've got some choices in-house from Cohen guys that would know the offense and would seemingly segue nicely into the role, or they could obviously go outside and get somebody of more notable fame or whatever they want to do. What do you think they'll do to replace Cohen?
It could be they get Thad Lewis, or it could be, and I hope this is the case because Jason Light's a savvy guy. You heard, you cover college football much more than the NFL. You know the old saying, an athletic director has a file in his desk
right.
of his next 5 or 6 coach. Well, I hope Jason Light has that with his offensive coordinator or with in his file desk. To be fair to Bull, the last 2 selections, he's a defensive guy. We all know that. We stated that. His last 2 selections of offensive coordinator have been pretty good hits. The last one was home run. So I'm rather confident whoever he chooses might be okay. Now, I wrote this on JoeBucksFan.com this morning. This is pie in the sky. This might be irresponsible. But you know what? The Glazers like to make a splash. You want to bring someone in that you have confidence that can help Baker Mayfield. He doesn't need a whole lot of help. He did pretty good with Cohn. I say you go out and you get a guy that, depending who you read about, is on the fence as far as getting fired this coming year or not. His name is Lincoln Riley.
Wow. Well, I think college is becoming a place where if you've made your money and your reputation is still intact, but the changes around you are something that you are now not comfortable with, and perhaps in his case, you're on the precipice of losing your job, guys are flocked to the NFL now in a way that they didn't in yesteryear. Guys now will leave head coaching positions. Hell, guys will leave head coaching positions in college to take an OC job at another college. They'll take a step that we just saw it with Kelly at Ohio State, leaving UCLA. It happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
So
wrote that this morning.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know that I'd be shocked. That'd be interesting to see. I don't know that it's a great marriage, but somebody will hire him at some point. I'm also curious about this. And I've not seen this play out in the manner that it has, the way we're seeing it play out now in Tampa. And that is, no matter where you look, whether it's JoeBucksFan.com or if it's the national media at ESPN or wherever you're looking to get your Bucks information right now, there seems to be a real sense that the Buccaneers as an organization, that Bowles, that the Glazers feel a little bit like they got screwed here, that Liam Cohen may have done something that is frowned upon, to say the least, that he was not communicative and was not honest. And I don't know what's true and what's not true. I will say it's certainly not abnormal for an offensive coordinator to interview for a job, have misgivings, have some things change about that job, and then get offered it and decide, yeah, I want to be a head coach. There's only so many of these out there. I don't want to stick around and be a high-paid OC when I can be a head coach. Most of the time, that wouldn't piss people off, but people in Tampa are pissed. Why?
Well, I think what it was Cohen was being very secretive about this. And depending what you believe, and I've emphasized this the past 24 hours, I've used the word allegedly quite often because until someone goes on the record, we really don't know what is the truth and what isn't the truth. I think it's just Cohen being secretive. Allegedly, there was a deal on the table the Glazers made for Cohen. The Glazers actually encouraged him to take an initial interview with the Jaguars to get practice, so to speak, because they know sooner or later he was going to leave. And even Todd Bowles Bowles admitted in the past he would sit down with Cohen and go over with him how he should conduct himself in an interview for a head coaching job. So they pretty much knew Cohen was just a matter of time before he was leaving, and they wanted him to have success. But I think the secrecy in all this with Cohen, like, hey, here's another contract. Oh, I want to be the highest paid coordinator. Okay, we'll make you the highest paid coordinator. A couple of hours later, he comes back and goes, well, I need more money. And, well, wait a minute. We just said this was good enough. What's going on? And then the Glazers allegedly had told him, this deal is on the table. You'll be the highest paid coordinator if you don't take that second interview. You go to the second interview, the offer's off the table. Then he tries to hide that he actually flew to Jacksonville. And then that's where it gets really seedy, depending who you talk about. And I don't want to repeat stuff that sounds absolutely dastardly. And I think that's why, if you believe the Bucks, and Schefter said he's never seen a team freak out like this before, so maybe there's a hint of truth to it. If you believe the Bucks, Cohen was less than open in what he was doing. And I can't blame Cohen. I want to be up front. Somebody throws me $13 million a year in my face and the opportunity to have influence on the next general manager, I'm going. Especially if I got a young quarterback like Lawrence. I know he's hasn't played that well, but he's still got potential. You've got a future star wide receiver. You've got okay running backs. I mean, okay. I would jump at that chance with the power you have. $13 million a year. I can't blame him for that. But what the issue is, what did he tell the Bucks, or what did the Bucks tell him? Something got screwed up there, and that's why the Bucks are angry.
Yeah, it seems to me just to be terribly mismanaged. Nobody on earth expects that a coordinator or an assistant coach of any kind to defer the opportunity to be a head coach to a later date, especially not when they're getting head coach money being offered. You're never going to turn that down. What you can't do is lie about it. I mean, there would have been nothing wrong with him going, interviewing, not withdrawing his name from the job. Shad Khan fires the GM, which they all figured at some point he had to do, because a lot of people that were interviewed for that job told him, I'd take your job except for I don't want to work with that a-hole. So they get rid of that guy. They come back to Cohen. They must have loved his interview. And they say, hey, look, the thing that was impeding your taking the job is off the table. He's gone. And you'll have influence. Come on in. Nobody would have had a problem with that if he went back to the Bucks and said, listen, things have changed. They reached back out to me, and I got to be honest with you, The reason I didn't take that job was I didn't want to work with that GM. They fired him. I'm going to take the job. I don't think the Bucs could have been mad about that. I don't understand the secrecy in any of this.
Exactly. That's why I don't blame Cohen. And what you said, I don't blame the Bucs for being mad if that is what happened. And it seems to be there was some form of miscommunication. Whether you talk about ignoring calls and texts, whether you talk about being misleading, I don't know. But there was some issue with communication that broke down. Led Zeppelin song there for you.
Nicely done.
So I don't blame the Bucs for being peeved, but I don't blame Cohen for taking the job either. Like you said, when Balky got fired, the dynamics changed drastically.
Final thing, and we got to go. It's been fun. We've got to catch up again in the offseason. This has to be defense in the draft, correct? That's where we're going?
Totally agree. Inside linebackers especially. We don't know right now about Levante David. And by the way, they may have a new defensive staff.
Yeah.
There's guys starting to leave already, and I applaud that. To be honest with you. They need a new set of eyes. But quickly, it has to be defense. Absolutely. Interior linebacker, edge rusher, although I have my doubts about that, and safety.
We're on the same page. Next time I'll get to ask you about the front office, because there's a new the assistant general manager just took the GM job with the Raiders. There's a lot of people going on in Tampa. We'll monitor it closely, and we'll talk down the road. Good to have you on the air again. Be good, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks again, Jeff, and thanks, Tom, as well.
Yep. Take care, brother. Be good. JoeBucksFan.com, the website. Lita Kemper runs it. Done well for himself with that site. It's fun. More fan-oriented. A lot of people yelling at each other.
There's a fair amount to yell about right now.
Yeah.
Spirited debate.
I just can't get what happened down there, man. It seems pretty straightforward.
Well, he gave a little clue that I did not know. The idea that he was going to be paid the highest amount of any coordinator, with the Jags job, and there's an insurance policy, and he says, okay, but then he comes back a second time and says, I need more money again. That would start to piss me off. Because I'm already going to give you a raise.
Yeah, your agent's doing his job at that point. It sucks, but that's what's happening.
But it sounds like they had an initial agreement, and then he wanted a second one on top of the initial agreement they had. So you're calling back twice. That sounds like the thing that would drive us nuts about NIL. So in the same spirit, I'd say, okay, we were already going to give you a raise. You said this was enough. Now you're going to go to Jacksonville and say, I need more money. Okay, we'll meet that demand, but you need to not go take that second interview with the Jags. It sounds like he wanted to go to Jacksonville, make sure it was the right fit, and have his cake and eat it too.
Yeah, and he's trying to make the most amount of money possible and used both sides for leverage.
I got no problem with that except for that middle step.
Well, and I got no problem with it if you're up front, man. You can't not answer your phone.
Right.
What are we doing out here?
Well, but if you're going to get on the plane and go there a second time, you're not going there not to accept the job. So at that point, just let us go start our search.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
It just seems like an unnecessary step.
Yeah. It miscalculated for sure. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Tallahassee police are investigating after skeletal human remains were found last week in the capital city. The department is working with the Office of the Medical Examiner in Leon County to try to identify the remains and determine other information, including the events leading up to the death. Residents discovered the remains on Friday, January 17th, beyond the tree line in a neighborhood near Blairstone Forest on the southeast end of the capital city. Police say the case is still open and they declined to share any further details at this time. A house fire left one person deceased early Wednesday morning on Supreme Court. The fire unfolded just after 4 a.m. Crews responded to the scene and found heavy fire coming from a single-story home. Firefighters immediately began to put out the fire while protecting the surrounding area. However, the fire department said one person was found deceased on scene. The cause of the fire is under investigation. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A freeze warning begins at midnight tonight and continues until 9 a.m. tomorrow. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 47. Winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight, lows level off around 25. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 46 degrees.
Dream it, plan it, do it. Brian Barnard's Flooring America offers a straightforward way to shop with our streamlined shopping. Finding the right flooring is simple. Visit our newly remodeled showroom featuring the Room to Explore shopping experience, where our knowledgeable staff will walk you through the steps. Our family has been serving the area since 1976 with a local staff of more than 35 people trained in flooring sales and design. We know floors and we know styles. Let us help make your home timeless. Brian Barnard's Flooring America, where friends send friends.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You see what you did there, Marcus, was you got me going down memory lane, man. Now here I am. Every commercial break we go to, I'm over here like, oh, that's right. How long did he play? Wow. 22 starts. I just keep going through this. Guys you thought, would have ended up having long careers that didn't. Guys that you thought had no chance to make the league that did and then stuck around for 10 years. And Tom, you should not have sent me this link.
Oh, boy.
Well, it's so easy.
Do we have one for all 32 teams? Like, do we have a Texan? Do we have a name your obscure team?
Oh,
here?
we have a Houston Texan. I'll give you one right now. Milford Brown.
Oh, okay. Also, Mario Edwards Jr. I should have known that. A couple weeks ago, he made a play in the backfield.
You know who had a good season in the NFL as a 5th-round pick? Jarvis Brownlee had a good year for the Titans.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
He played well. I know a lot of people didn't. I always liked Brownlee. He was a bit of a mess here emotionally.
A bit slow.
Oh, he has real problems with his game. He's not elite. But if utilizing his strengths properly can be done, and the Titans did, there's a place for him. He will hit your ass, and he played hard. And after watching this last year, kids not playing hard, I miss the Brownlee-like effort that I used to see. Now, he could get beat over the top easily.
Oh, boy.
He
can get called for a hold or interference.
A lot of problems with Jarvis Brownlee's game. I'm not here to tell you that I thought he was the best corner we ever had. I'm just telling you he played hard as hell. He was very physical. He cared deeply. He was very passionate, sometimes wildly immature emotionally as well. He had all of that. But damn it, man, he would come up and hit you in the run game, was not afraid at all. And, man, just watching these guys in the last year just not trigger really eats at me, really pisses me off.
Well, look, you're a couple of guys lighter in the secondary, a few guys lighter. And you got a player like Edwin Joseph who's going to demand more snaps. Jabril Rawls has some nasty to him.
Oh, yeah, those two guys will hit you.
I hope that they can find a home for Earl Little to play more consistently in this defense because he knows one thing, which is getting downhill and hitting you. I don't know if that helps with a scheme and execution of said scheme, but I do know I like it. And I know when I saw it against Miami that it looked different than everybody else. And some of these young guys. Is that the way that Kai Bates plays? Is it the way that Jamari Howard plays? Charles Lester, is he physical? We're going to find those things out in spring camp. But you're right. When you see it, I mean, Jerryon Jones was that way. Jerryon Jones in the slot 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, he was.
He had no time for you.
No, I love that. Yes, just give me a bunch of guys who do that, man, please. I just realized something before we start hour number 2. When you go to that page, it's in alphabetical order, so it's really fun. And everybody's going to do this now. But the magic number for years played for a lot of FSU guys, like, oh, sure, you have guys that were in the league for a year, 2 years, didn't even make a year. Then you have some that are 4 or 5, whatever. But it's weird. Anquan Bolden, 14 years. Derek Brooks, 14 years. Terrell Buckley, 14 years. Fred Bolitnikoff, 14 years. Yeah, there's like a bunch of Florida State guys that played 14 years. That's insane.
Warwick Dunn had to be around that ballpark. He was in the league forever.
Yeah, Warwick Dunn. I'll tell you very quickly because you got me.
And it's alphabetical.
Yeah. 12 years.
Oh.
12 years. He didn't get to the magic number.
Well, for a
of
running
40.
back, it's
yeah,
14.
It's insane.
Come on now. For a running back, that's 18.
How many years do you think Darnell Dockett played in the league?
Oh, well, I talked to him.
That's your friend, Darnell Dockett. You talked to him.
He's my friend.
Yeah. How many years?
Tweeting about sneaking into movie theater.
Yeah, Darnell was awesome.
11.
10. Good guess, 10. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
See Nice Tire and Auto Service at 4792 Bluntstown Highway today. The ASE trained technicians at Nice take the guesswork out of fixing your car. That's why wherever you see the Goodyear sign, you'll find what you want in tires and service. From preventative maintenance to a major overhaul and everything in between, you name it. Plus, Nice's services are backed by a nationwide limited warranty. Stop by Nice Tire and Auto Service. 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
Yeah, I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to drink water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service, right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mandlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3 WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
Every day it feels like there is a new chapter in the saga of who's going to become the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now it looks like Buccaneers offensive coordinator Liam Cohen is going to move into that role. This comes very shortly after he had told the Jaguars he was not going to take the job and instead went back to the Buccaneers, agreeing to a new contract. But after the Jaguars made the decision to move on from general manager Trent Baalke, they re-engaged with Cohen, and now all indications are that he is set to take over in that job. Speaking of the Jaguars, wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. has been selected for the Pro Bowl. This Sports Flash is brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun, and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Flex Premium Athleisure is softness that plays hard. From the couch to the gym to the office and beyond, Flex gives you premium comfort and style that keeps up with anything without costing everything. Whether you're chasing the ball or chasing the kick, life's a workout. Flex with it. Exclusively at Kohl's. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Something amazing is happening here. Scientists are using AI to study how whales talk to each other. CDW experts can give researchers the power to process complex data with HP workstations, advanced by AMD Ryzen Threadripper Pro processors. With easier handling of AI workloads, your organization can bring powerful insights to the surface. Make amazing happen. HP, AMD, and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/HPA.
Listen to what people are saying about ACL Home Inspections.
They took the time to explain every detail, providing clear insights and answering all of my questions.
I needed an inspection quickly. ACL scheduled me within 24 hours, and the inspector was able to arrive early. That was a huge bonus, and my 2 dogs absolutely adore him.
ACL Home Inspections will accompany you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy, then provide you with an easy-to-read digital report the same day. For homeowners planning to list their house on the market before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection.
As a very analytical person, I want to see all the details and ask questions. I interviewed 3 home inspection companies and was very impressed by ACL.
See for yourself what people are saying. Search ACL Home Inspections and find out more at aclhomeinspections.com or call 850-312-8919. 850-312-8919.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Tell me if we have any more of the loosey-goosey donations today and questions need to be answered. I did, however, during the break, check to see if I missed anything, and I laughed at the gentleman who didn't want me to talk about the Jags or the Bucks. It's the newcomers that sometimes come here and say, well, wait a minute. He's talking about something other than Florida State. What gives? Yeah, it's Jeff Cameron Show, man. I might be talking about, I don't know, pudding. And it is the Jeff Cameron Show. So, you can go to hell.
There's no problem if somebody says, what's the deal? When you drop in there, you're like, shut up with this. Like, well, now we got to
now you got to go.
Yeah.
Now you got to go. And also you can go to hell. No, you shut up. Peace. You're done. F off.
I didn't give him the hammer.
I would have. I didn't see it. I would have.
I know. It's the new year.
Goodbye, ass face. You're out. That's how that would have gone. And should have. Now let's talk about pudding.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
I knew you'd say that. I knew it. You've got texture issues.
I will venture down the road of gelato. That's about as far as I go.
You venture some into the gelato arena.
Gelato. Let's see if it's dairy free. Yeah, man, I'm in.
Oh, that's funny.
Give me a fruit bar or a little gelato, a little chocolate gelato. Nice.
Florida State plays Stanford. You won't watch tomorrow night. That means all of you. I don't know if that's true. We got diehards. We love them. We love the team regardless. It's just that really took the wind out of the sails. Meaning the Cal game. Florida State now sits at 13-6, 4-4 in the ACC. Stanford is 13-6, 5-3 in the ACC. That game tomorrow night, 7:00, Maples Pavilion in Palo Alto, California, which is gorgeous. Will be televised on the ACC network. And that Bay Area trip is over just after it started, and it hopefully isn't disastrous. 2 losses on the Bay Area trip would be a disaster. You got the one. It's got to stop there. Damn, I'm still mad about that. We've only played Stanford one time. We lost 70-60 in the second round of the ESPN Events Invitational in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. Do you remember the game? It was 2022. I don't even remember it.
Really? That recently?
Yes.
No chance.
It is odd that I don't even. Usually you get the image of the uniforms where you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Vaguely, yeah. No recollection whatsoever of that game.
I can tell you about that same tournament when we beat Iona for a championship. This is closer to 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But not the one from 2 years ago.
The loss to Cal dropped our net. We went from 66 to 73. Stanford is a net 68 ranking. So, if you're fighting like hell for a NIT bid, you don't have enough quad 1 games right now even left on the schedule. You gotta find a way here.
Got to run the table. Shoot the moon.
Run the table, huh? Oof. Not going to happen. I do I do want to say this, though. I want to get into what I was sort of teasing at the start of the show, which was that there's an FSU conversation. I don't know if you saw the quote, and you wouldn't have had a cause to, but it got me thinking. Urban Meyer was asked to weigh in on Ohio State's championship, and there were people within the Ohio State faithful, the diehards, that were saying, well, there's kind of an asterisk next to this one because, we didn't beat Michigan and we didn't win the Big Ten. Go to hell, people. Go to hell. There's no asterisk next to winning a national championship in which you win 4 straight games against top 10 teams.
It's as close to immaterial as it can be.
That's correct. That is correct. Right. So he was weighing in on that and was saying, yeah, don't be stupid. Stop being idiots. He was right. This is the first time we've agreed to Urban Meyer about almost anything. Right. I was like, well, that's right. You're right. Say that. And he did. And then he talked about how good Ohio State's program is set up moving forward. And he was kind of getting into the interviewer asked him, well, why do you project in this day and age that the consistency will remain? And he said, well, look, it's the business we're in. The bottom line is the first thing that has to happen, you have to win games. And then number 2 is you really have to recruit well. And the way we know you recruit well is the NFL drafts your players. He's like, I don't have to have an argument about this. We can get into player evaluation, but the NFL evaluates your roster. The NFL tells you you are or are not doing a good job of accruing talent. They do it for you every April. You get players drafted, you're doing a good job. You don't, you're not. That's the end of it. He goes, watch how many Ohio State players get drafted this year and next. They've got players, lots of them. And he's not wrong. And it got me thinking about, it's easy to say that and it's right, but sometimes you have to reflect back and think, yeah, well, when we went undefeated, that team turned around and had a gazillion guys taken in the draft to the point where we're now sitting there talking about it every week that we watch NFL football. Just an infusion of Florida State players from that undefeated team. And then obviously the one that just played a very disappointing season, not much.
And yet NFL scouts were here in droves and they kept coming back because of the expectation of what was to come.
But it's fascinating because, yes, the perception was there's more where that came from.
Yeah.
Turns out there wasn't.
The thing I would say, though, is many of these scouts came back from the same franchises over and over until they saw the product, but the practice didn't scare them away.
No, and one of the things I've tried this in the past. You know how hard it is to get an NFL scout to come on your show?
Oh, they can't. Yeah,
they don't
be blackballed.
Why? Why would that be
proprietary information? I mean, they're weird. We've seen them in pro days.
Yeah,
we have only standing up. Like for what? A 40 time? What are we gonna do with the 40 time?
Right.
Distribute it? Oh no, the kid ran a 4.4. Oh, the Bucks don't have an advantage. Like what do you guys?
No, it's weird. I don't understand.
Weird group.
I don't understand any of it. And sometimes it's not the scouts themselves. It's just the way that the whole operation is handled. And I get that if you work for an NFL franchise, you're going to get certain kinds of, special kind of treatment compared to a local member of the media covering practice. I understand that. You want these guys at your practices. It's good for you. Players notice. It's a good thing to have that. But they are looking sometimes, Tom, for very different things than we would be looking for. We're looking at big picture, how a player fits in a unit, in a segment group, in a defense, in a scheme that we're going to watch week to week to week against certain matchups and all that. They're looking for their team's fit. They're looking for something entirely different. And that's why you'll sometimes when you have, and these guys will talk to you, I'll just a little behind the curtains here. These guys will talk to you. I mean, I've had many conversations out of football practice, just standing there, turn to my right and see it's a guy from the 49ers. They all wear their shirts, the polos. It'll be a guy from the Bucks, be a guy from, and I talked up the Bucks guy last year like 3 times because he saw me. I was wearing a Bucks hat one day at practice, and he actually said something. I was like, yeah, I'm from down there. I'm a big Bucks fan. He's like, oh, and we just were talking. Now, they're careful about what they say about the players they're watching.
Sure, yeah.
But they'll talk about their overall job or big picture, like what they're looking for and why.
Or dudes on the roster that are just dudes, that anybody could come to that conclusion. Yeah.
Yeah.
In this age of sensitivity, I want to be clear. I'm not mad at Florida State about the policy with the scouts. It's just that when a scout group of 3 or 4 guys from 3 or 4 different franchises are talking amongst themselves and they're trying to butt you out, first of all, I'm not trying to poke my head into the conversation.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hear what you're saying.
Well, what are you going to be sharing with each other that would be off the record to the rest of the world? Because you don't want to give your Cowboys counterpart an advantage if you're an Eagle scout or vice versa. Like, what is it? Is it the bench press numbers? Is it the shuttle time? What does that matter to us? Anyway.
Well, yeah. I mean, I get that they got to be careful and why they don't go on radio shows often. They're probably told by the organization, hey, look, we don't need our business out there. Which guys were like, for one, let's just say I was talking to this scout that has a certain region. So they all do. So they don't go all over the country. They all have certain regions. If you got a guy that has, let's say he works for the Seattle Seahawks and he covers the Southeast, he'll tell you, like, yeah, I cover, I go to see Carolina Panthers. I go to North Carolina. I go to Florida, Georgia, Alabama, wherever, right? He'll name 4 or 5 states in the region. And then you could then have a conversation about, I don't know where Mason Graham is from. I know he played at Michigan, but the Jags are interested in Mason Graham. He's a badass. I would love to ask him about Mason Graham. I'd love to ask, if you were a scout in the South and you knew the teams well, just big picture conversations about players and how they fit and, projecting what kind of player they'll be in the league. Not necessarily what your franchise is going to do, just how you see players projecting at the next level. hey, so-and-so is a, outside linebacker at Georgia, Mikael Williams. He's a stud. You know what? Talk to me about his game. How does that translate in the NFL? They won't do it. I don't quite get that.
The question is, to what degree are we going to see scouts this year in spring and fall camp, and for what position groups?
Well, okay, that's what I wanted to get to, which was, okay, we know that this draft is not going to be ripe with Florida State players being picked left and right the way it was the year previous, which was so fun. I'm reminded of how nothing can make you more giddy and bring out your fandom for your school than when you go through a draft and there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys getting picked from your school. It's just so cool. And you don't realize how starved you were for it until that happens in mass. And when it did, I just was giddy because the team that had the undefeated regular season, that was just filled with a lot of very likable kids and likable storylines. And guys that helped get Florida State back, who really were that's the one thing I will say about that Ohio State team. Everything you read, I don't cover Ohio State. Obviously, I watch from afar like everybody else. But if you go and read basically the Ohio State beats coverage of that team on threes, wherever you're looking, you'll see that in some form or another, they all wrote that this was a group that was very close-knit, that came up together and that did this, and this. And they all said that. And I think that's also true, that even in the portal era, that was true of the team from a couple of years ago here, that it was more than just a collection of, NIL players from other schools that really came together because of their skill and rose the program to another level. No, it was more than that. They were all buy-in guys. They were all guys that accepted the challenge. They would all say this on the record, accepted the challenge that Norvell laid out to make them better leaders in the locker room, better players, better men, better students. That was Mike's big challenge to them. And they all seemed to buy in. I mean, I'm sure there were a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, you could see that. You could see that sacrifice was on display. And we were talking yesterday on the show, how do you make that happen? How do you get that again? Where it's so transient, where people are coming and going and it's about the money, and how do you foster that? He's got to find a way, clearly.
It's a whole new reason you get paid the money that you get paid. And it's not just relative to Mike Norvell in a 2-10 season. It's relative to any coach at any point. You can't rest. They were already paranoid individuals before. Now they're rightfully paranoid.
Yeah, they have a reason to be.
I mean, there were times where Jimbo, I go, my man, you're fine. Everything's fine. Would you please breathe? Yeah. And you'd hear about these stories of him reaching out to different members of the media or different, people that were connected to the program, reading them the riot act. And you're thinking, Jimbo, this is really small potatoes.
I remember saying that to him one time when he was yelling at me. Like, you're really mad about that?
Right.
I've said way worse.
Now you've got a reason. You've got a place to put that bandwidth of paranoia. You should be worried every time. Man, he looked weird in that meeting. Did you catch that last week? You see, he looked weird. All right, well, let's check out next Tuesday when he comes back in that meeting. See if he in his face has an expression that gives us concern. Oh, that's 2 in a row. Do we need to sit down with him? Is something wrong? Is he not happy here?
This is a tough job now.
It is extremely tough. It is constant psychoanalysis from people who aren't qualified to do that in hopes that you can retain people on your roster. The only way that you can make it work, though, is if you win and you have fun while doing it. And you've got NIL. But if you win
the money.
But I mean, from the coach's job, where he cuts off before the collective begins. You either have the war chest or you don't. You got to win, and people got to enjoy doing it. They got to enjoy being around you.
Well, I think people enjoy winning. Obviously, that's a across the board sort of thing, but they'll win a lot of different ways and be happy doing it if they believe they're valued and their role is valued. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you could be a team that beats people 47-38 every week, or you could be a team that beats somebody 13-10. But that holds true. Like, how the winning has to happen doesn't really matter how. But you have to feel that your role is valued. You have to feel that you're contributing something, that even if it's a very small role, you're a backup, you're a guy that plays sparingly, you're only on special teams. You have to feel like, A, you're working towards something and are going to be given that shot if you do what you're told, and B, You have to feel that even that minute role is important. And, that's a lot of effort from a coach or a segment coach to make sure that they're riding those guys and pushing those guys and challenging those guys while also shepherding their mindset and getting them to understand that what they're doing is important, even though they play 2 plays a game.
Well, we often look at it from the coach's perspective with the portal and say these poor coaches, the players have, latitude every year to leave when they want to. But the problem when you're creating what you're talking about, the players from their perspective, if I'm a freshman receiver here and I see Deuce Robinson come in and I see the kid from JUCO come in and Squirrel White, and they told me, hey, second year will be really your time to compete and shine. But I'm seeing guys portaled over me.
Yes.
That also creates the seeds of doubt. It goes both ways here because the coaching staff will not waste time to portal over you. It used to be the concern of, are they going to recruit over me? Now it's still bringing a kid that's older than me and more experienced than me. So the paranoia goes both ways here. And I think that's something we don't talk about enough. But if I'm LaWayne McCoy or BJ Gibson or Elijah Moore or Camden Fryer, and I'm told that, all right, we're going to give you a chance to really develop here. Look at all these kids that are leaving just as you're arriving here in your second, third year on campus. That's what you hear on the way in. Then you're in your first offseason, and here comes Deuce and Squirrel, and they're talking to another kid that they may or may not get, and they get the kid from JUCO. That can leave you feeling bereft of hope, too, as a player, and then more willing to enter the portal than you would be otherwise.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are only – I do think we're going to get to a place where – well, let me back up. I think Mike has to be a better killer. I think Mike cares deeply about the kids. This is a compliment I give him all the time. I see it, and I really appreciate that he does. And I think he cares a lot to the point where it's hurt him. There have been times he needed to have honest, tough conversations about why a kid can no longer be here. It's time for you to take it on down the road. It's not working out. You're never going to play. I'm not going to play you. You're not good enough. There are places you could go, and I'll help you get there. And I think you could have great success. But as it stands now, you're too far down the depth chart. We're about to bring in 2 new guys. You're just not going to see the field, partner. And he wouldn't do it. And because this has gotten to be more like professional football, you got to be just as cold as they are in the league. In the league, it's, that's the deal. We talk about how ruthless they are. Sorry about your calf injury, Johnny.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I need your playbook. I mean, that's how it happens.
Yeah.
But they're getting paid now.
You have to be honest about that, and transparent about
Very
it.
honest about it, yeah.
For example, the running back room. If they got that kid from Utah State, Faison, what if they got him and I'm Singleton or I'm Danzy or I'm Cam Davis? Now, you could say, I don't weep for them. They had opportunities or,
Well, but they're also freshmen. I would have been like, hey, man, you'll be all right.
But you're going to get Faison and Chroma? Okay, I see what you're doing here. Now, you recruited me and you told me I'm everything. It's almost better. You're better off going into high school and saying, you're going to come here and you might even think about leaving and we might even think about portaling over you. But your job is to not let that happen.
That's correct. That is your job.
My job is to facilitate you that does not happen. But it's almost like you have to have a conversation with a kid at 17 like you would if he was 19 or 20 already on your roster.
Well, and you got to just tell him, look, I do like the approach when coaches say, hey, I'm finding the next guy that's better than you. And I'm doing it every year. If I find somebody better, I'm taking him. Your job is to make sure I can't. You're so good, I can't find anybody better than you. That's your job. So, listen.
And then the player says, right, and then I'm going to hold out and ask for more money.
Well, if you're that kind of good, fine. Sure, I'll pay you, Jordan Travis. You proved me wrong. You're awesome. Here's your money. That's where we're at. And if you're a great player and you do that and you ascend and become elite, then you'll get paid, as we've seen now in the NIL era. If you're a quarterback, you might get $3, $4, $5, $6 million.
That's a lot different of a conversation in a living room for a junior or senior in high school than it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
But it has to start there, I think. In order to do what you're trying to do, what you're saying, how do you sustain it? That conversation can't happen after they sign. It has to be on the trail.
This is how we do business. I'm never going to lie to you. I'm going to look you in the face. I'm going to tell you where you're at, the standing you have within the program. This is what I'm going to expect of you. I know what's expected of me, which is to win games. If there's somebody out there that wants to come here and they're better than you and you've been here 2 years, I'm taking that player. That's the way it's going to work. But, John, you just told me you'll be the best right guard I've ever seen, so I shouldn't have that issue, right?
And this is where you would say, and you look him in the eye, I hate the system the way it is right now.
But it is the system, and I got to win.
You're going to grow up too, and you might have second thoughts about being in the university 6 months from now. You don't think that's possible, but it might be your reality 6 months from now. I can't take that chance ever, that because I'm sitting here across from you and you say, Coach, I would never do that. I can't believe that.
Perhaps.
Just like you should have skepticism in your own setting.
Yes.
That's the way it is. I hate the way it is now, young man. Used to be that this is a 3 to 4 year commitment. It just isn't now. I hate it. But if you're okay with these parameters, then we've got a home for you, and we believe you're going to be very successful. It's just such a different pitch than Bobby going in for dinner and saying, well, you can trust him. We're going to take time, develop him. When he's ready, he'll play.
Well, and it stinks, and nobody likes it, and it's hard to win that way. It's hard to build a bond. That's why I asked the question, like, who can do it best and how?
Yeah, it's so
in this era.
and
It is
transactional.
so, yes, but that's not good. Like the ones who transcend. So I don't know if you saw that, but 2 years ago, Michigan had a fund called a One More Year Fund. And they got a bunch of guys that were supposed to go to the league. They were all projected to be drafted within the first 4 rounds. They were all studs, especially on that defense. And they started a One More Year Fund. It's now defunct. But they raised a bunch of money and gave it to them, and they said, okay, we'll come back.
That's a really good idea. That's a really good idea for a collective, because that is merit-based retention rather than risky investment out of high school. Like if within the collective there was a wing that you had people raising money to say, I don't want the 5-star. I want the kid that is going to go 3rd round that really wants to go 1st round, but he needs to be convinced to come back for another season.
Yeah, we need to give him a little bit more money. And oh, by the way, he was an All-American last year, so we know he can play.
Or the one that's in the portal that's considering us for a year and he's proven. How about we earmark funds? It's almost like the coaches club. I wanted to go to softball. I don't want track. I like track just fine.
Yeah.
Mario's donating to track.
Mario
I'm going to handle
is.
softball. Okay, so we have our own little worlds. I'm sure there are people Battles End that want to give to 17-year-olds. I want to give to 21-year-olds that have been good for us. Can I earmark my dollars for that?
In that way, by the way, the NIL really did work for players that don't have much of an NFL future, but were really good college players. And they got paid to come back and do well. And it's money that they wouldn't have otherwise seen under the old system. That part of it's good. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV.
Neighborhood Bar and Grill just got a whole lot closer to home. You can now order delicious Smitty's Tap House and Grill for delivery directly to your doorstep. Just visit Smitty'sTapHouse.com, click the Order Online button, and choose pickup or delivery. Enjoy Smitty's famous handmade pretzel with beer cheese, juicy pub burger, or even the amazing schnitzel sandwich, delivered fresh right to your doorstep. Support local and order online today for takeout or delivery at Smitty'sTapHouse.com, where everybody knows his name.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816-186.
Everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 373031.
Don't miss TSC Tuesdays every Tuesday morning at 6:30 a.m. during the Greg Tish Show. Find out what's happening at Tallahassee State College every Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3 FM.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Real Talk fact number 44. Burns 150 calories. This is Real Talk 93.3, Tallahassee's Real Talk station. The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Well, we get one more of these, I guess, after this one, and it's Mother coming in to successfully, probably, most likely pick the winners of this weekend's games. That's what I'm going to say. Cue it up, Tom, if you would.
And now for another edition of the Family Pick. Nick.
Go to your room! Ma, the meatloaf!
Take it away, Jeffrey.
We're down to the final 4. I'm sure you're excited. I don't even know. I think, did we have one game different last week? And I don't even remember what it was. You'll tell me.
We did. You had Buffalo and you won. I had Baltimore and you had Buffalo. So you did win that game.
All right. Finally, now that I'm mathematically eliminated.
I don't know what my score is now as far as games up. But anyway, you did get that one. And I told Tom, we may have different ones today. I don't know. But I told Tom I'm throwing caution to the wind because it doesn't matter.
That's correct. You are betting with house money. You've already won the event. So, yes, I think your lead is now 7 or something like that. It's still robust. But let's see if I could chip away at it. Wouldn't it be something if I
be able to chip away at it? I tell you what, those were so. Those games this past week, they were. Some of them were kind of shocking. I was very surprised that Detroit lost. Not so much that they lost, but that they lost handily. I mean, Washington wasn't it 45-31?
Yeah, Washington did whatever they wanted on offense. And again, we worried all season long as Detroit continued to lose personnel on defense that at some point you're going to not be able to hold up, and they couldn't. And it's a credit to Jaden Daniels in Washington, but it's also a stark reality that in order to get to a Super Bowl or even in this case a conference championship game, you got to be good and you got to be really lucky too, because you can't have the mounting injuries that they had. I don't know of another team that suffered as many injuries in the course of the season as Detroit did this year on one specific side of the football too. It's one thing if it's dispersed evenly, you lose a couple on both sides of the ball, you can try to make up for it. But when you're losing Pro Bowlers and elite starters on that same side of the ball, it's tough. And you saw them just, the dam broke.
Yeah. Oh, Lordy. It definitely did. And that Houston-Kansas City game, that annoyed the crap out of me, too, because I really think that there was a lot of bad calls in that game. And I know that Kansas City always finds a way to win, but there was some blatant things, I think, with those, unnecessary roughness calls with Patrick.
The two penalties with Patrick in the first half were the ones that pissed everybody off, and I get it. I will only point out that while that is true and he is a flopper and it annoys me, Houston did a lot of dumb stuff in the second half and deserved to lose. And that is the thing of it all, right, is that when the plays are there to be made, Kansas City makes those plays and other teams do not. And that's, you would point out, the missing of field goals and extra points and all of that. In close games, you can't do that, man. Can't do that. Also, I would point out in the playoffs so far, Josh Allen has received more personal foul calls against him than Patrick Mahomes has or any other quarterback in this playoff. So it happens all the time. But, I mean, we're conditioned at this point because we're also tired of watching Kansas City win, and so it always stands out. Let's start with the first game, though. Let's go with Washington at Philadelphia.
I am picking Washington.
I am too.
Concerned about Jalen Hurts, is whatever's wrong with him, his knee, his leg, whatever. And I just think I'm a believer in Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I think he is good, and he doesn't get flustered for a rookie. I mean, he just sees the field, and I'm telling you what, I like him.
Well, and he's healthy now because they've upped the ante. I just saw the stat today that he's running at a clip at 15.6% of their dropbacks now. He's taking off. They told him, okay, ribs good? Good. Take off. Use your legs. We don't have any games left. Do whatever you have to do. Throw caution to the wind, brother. We don't have 6 more weeks of this. We've got 1 or 2 more games. So, yeah, he's using every aspect of the weaponry now. And, look, Philadelphia could just do what they've done to everybody else, which is line up and pound the football via the run game. I mentioned earlier in the show that Saquon Barkley is averaging over his last 5 games 29 touches a game. They don't back away from it. You can stuff him repeatedly, and they keep handing him the ball because it just takes one with that guy. If you miss a fill or you get sealed, he's 80 yards. I mean, he's that kind of good. He's that kind of explosive. So they could do that. But you're right. I'm kind of buying into the magic of Jaden Daniels. Yeah.
I know. I do. And I hope that that's right, because I'm not a Philly fan. So I'll be tickled if that happens.
So something to point out here, too. I don't know if you know this stat, Tom. I was looking this up this morning. There are 4 games this year in which the Commanders gave up over 200 yards rushing, and they went 3-1 in those games. They win them. They don't care. They win them. It's bizarre.
Is that right?
Yeah, you don't usually see that. But, yeah, I wouldn't keep testing that kind of fate. But, I mean, they have won those games.
That's amazing. Well, and there's somebody, who was it that won the other? Was that them when they – I don't think so. But somebody had like 5 turnovers, and they still won? Didn't they?
That was the week before. Well, it was golf. That was golf. No, they didn't. They did win the week.
No, they did. Yeah, no, they did lose. That was Detroit. No, but I thought there was another game where they had maybe not 5, but I thought they had several turnovers. Maybe it was Houston.
Houston turned the ball over, yeah, and they also missed kicks, and they also did a lot of dumb things. That's how you lose to Kansas City pretty easily, even if you outgain them.
Yeah, I know. That's a problem when you miss an extra point. That's for sure. I mean, field goals every once in a while are going to happen, but extra points, they definitely shouldn't miss those.
Philadelphia's kicker, Elliott, is 2 of 5 so far in the playoffs on extra points.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
That's not good for sure.
Buffalo at Kansas City.
You're taking Washington too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good for you.
Buffalo, Kansas City.
I'm taking Buffalo. I think they're going to break the jinx of the not winning in the playoffs thing, or
not winning at Kansas City. Yeah.
And so I am going to pick them.
I'm picking them as well. I've liked them since the start of the playoffs. I liked them at the end of the season too. Kansas City's offense is problematic. They do rise to another level in the postseason, and nobody can cover a tight end that faces Kansas City. It's the craziest thing in the world to watch it. Kelsey is open again. I guarantee you somewhere Kelsey is open right now. Wide open. In the grocery store somewhere, nobody's near him. He's wide open in the cereal aisle. I promise you. It's annoying, but I'm going to take Buffalo.
Annoying as hell. How does that happen? I say that myself too. There was not a soul around him. Like that one touchdown they scored, and he was in the end zone. He's like looking all around. There's nobody there.
Yeah, it's frequent. Or when he's running 58 yards downfield, you're like, how do you miss a 260-pound man streaking down the seam? What are we doing? It's crazy. Anyhow, we're both taking Buffalo. We're going to lose both these games.
No, we're not going No, we're not. We're not going to. We're just going to be it's going to be Josh Allen's year, and I really hope so. And listen, before we hang up, I am very upset about this whole Liam Cohen thing with the Bucks.
Did you listen? Did you listen in the first hour? Did you hear my interview with Joe Bucks fan?
No, honey, I did not. I had to be somewhere, and so I just got back. I didn't hear. What did you say? Tell me.
Well, go back and watch it. It's on YouTube. Go back and watch it. It's long. You'll enjoy it.
I will. Okay. Well, I'm very frustrated about the whole situation, which I'm sure you are too.
Yes, I wanted him to be our next head coach. So yes, it's very frustrating.
Well, I hope he sucks at the Jacksonville Jaguars and he gets what he deserves.
Bye, Mom. Love you.
Bye, honey. Love you. Everybody have a good weekend.
There you go. You hear the competitive side of Mother coming out there, huh? Yeah, screw that guy.
Oh, man.
Jeez, there was vitriol there, huh?
Well, I don't think she'd want to live up here then because, we get the Jags every weekend, at least down there. I think they still, I'm not sure about this. Do they still always get the Dolphins on CBS down there? I think they do.
I think they do, yeah, down there.
That's just from growing up. It was always the Dolphins, not the Jags. But up here, she'd have Liam Cohen on the TV every weekend on CBS.
I'm not nearly as mad as everybody is about the way it went down because I don't know what happened there. It just seems dumb. I've never seen a situation where a offense or defensive coordinator, either one, has a chance to become a head coach. Those jobs are few and far between. And you fight your whole life, many of these coaches do, to get a chance to be a head coach in the National Football League.
Yeah, yes.
I got no problem with him taking the job, and I got no problem with his agent leveraging against the Bucs and the Jags for his client to get more money. I have a problem if he wasn't forthright about it. I have a problem if he didn't pick up the phone when they were trying to reach him to find out if he was going to take the Jags job. I have a problem if he lied about what he was doing while he was actually negotiating with Jacksonville. But just all he had to do, the Bucs knew of the first one. They encouraged him to go do the interview. He comes back, says, look, he tells Shad Khan, I'm interested. I'm very interested. Clearly, the GM situation ain't going to work for me either.
I balk at Balky. Many have.
Correct. Many have. So I don't want to be there with him, and I'm going to go back to Tampa Bay. All right. Tampa Bay, he comes back, says to management, they wanted me. I didn't want to work with that GM, but listen, you're going to have to give me more money because they were offering whatever. The Bucs, realizing that they could lose their prized offensive coordinator, meet his demands and say, okay, we'll make you the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. How's that work for you?
Right. And then he says, great. And then he says, apparently, according to Lee, hey, can we do a little better?
Right.
I know I just agreed to it, but can we do a little bit better?
Well, right, because he gets another phone call from the Jags again.
That phone call, yeah.
But don't lie about that phone call. There's no reason to. All you would have had to do is say, listen, I know I just agreed to take this offer, but the Jags have called me back. My agent has told me that Shad Khan fired the GM. They're offering me the head coaching job, and I'm going to take it. What's the nobody would? I mean, it would have sucked, but nobody would have been mad about that.
No, agreed. There's an unnecessary step in there. I get tripped up at that one point of if you ask a raise once, you're not going to ask a raise again. Not until we go at least through another year. You can't ask for a second raise after we come to terms on the first raise. That's ridiculous. Okay.
Well, I don't even know.
Even in that realm, if they say, if you take the interview, we're done here. You take interview number 2, we're done. Offers off the table. And you're trying to, well, I don't know if I'm really going to like it up there, so let me not tell them I'm doing the interview. No,
yeah,
man,
that's shaky.
Totally unprofessional.
It's unprofessional. It is unprofessional. I doubt he cares at this point, but yes,
it doesn't mean I'm bringing a sign. I'm driving over there to
you're
the
a
bank.
Snake. You snake.
You
Cohen.
suck.
You're a snake in the
Cohen.
grass.
That's right. No. It just means that screw that guy with light energy, not all of the hatred in my heart.
Well, no, because, I mean, we won the division again.
Be a pro.
Our defense wasn't good, and the offense was the reason we won the division again.
Hey, jerk face, be a pro.
That's it.
The moment you're getting on the plane to go to Jacksonville a second time to say, I'm so sorry that it worked out this way, guys. But they changed the tenor and the terms of the deal.
They fired the a-hole I wanted gone.
Do you understand? I'm sorry. Let me shake your hand. Is that so hard, Liam?
I agree.
That so hard?
I agree. Just be honest about it. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
An apparent snowball fight escalated early Wednesday in Collegetown, leading police to discharge pepper balls and arrest one person. TVD received complaints about a group of people lobbing snowballs at passing cars. Throwing a projectile into a moving vehicle is considered a felony, and snowballs fall into that category. As an officer arrived to investigate, the snowy situation intensified. He became a target, with both the officer's patrol car and face being struck by an ice projectile. The officer was walloped in the face once again with a snowball as he issued verbal warnings to the crowd over his patrol car's PA system. The suspected snowballer fled into the crowd, and the officer lost him. As additional officers arrived on the scene, they too became targets for the snowballers. Despite additional verbal warnings, the officers discharged their pepper ball systems to disperse the crowd. One man, 22-year-old Garrett King, was arrested for battery on a law enforcement officer for throwing the snowball at police. Additional arrests are pending. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A freeze warning begins at midnight tonight and continues until 9 a.m. tomorrow. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 47. Winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight, lows level off around 25. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 46 degrees.
Did you know that the survivability of a metal roof far exceeds that of a traditional shingle roof? At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we have new state-of-the-art roll formers that produce the highest quality Versa panel, PBR panel, and standing seam options. And we will guarantee to match or beat any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123. Or visit us online at metalroofing.sales.net.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So, like, different breeds, like different kinds
there's like families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch
or the Yeti, right?
Yep,
and then here in Florida, it's a skunk ape. And I've
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Picturing Tom driving to Jacksonville next year for a random Jags Philadelphia game, and outside he stands with his sign, "You snake Cohen." It would be hilarious.
Yeah, I've got a playlist that's all set. This is F. Liam Cohen in my Spotify. All right, time to get on the. I'm gonna get you today, Cohen.
Yeah, you're gonna hear from me, buddy.
I'm gonna get you.
Man, I can't believe how close we are to watching Florida State baseball at Dick Howser Stadium. Underneath the pines, we shall hang out beforehand.
Oh yeah.
Enter that great stadium and enjoy on Mike Martin Field a great brand of baseball. Again, it's glorious. It is glorious.
It was another delay, another postponement for the preseason press conference with Lincoln selected players because campus was closed again today. So if you were looking for that today, it was originally going to be Wednesday, then yesterday, and now we'll see some point next week.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You back it up as far as you need to back it up. It's all right. Let's go.
I just like that Link will say the same way 11 did. He has that. And I love that about him. I can't wait to hear the first, and that's it. I feel like that's the through line. Maybe the next head coach after Link is very successful over the next 20 years and wins 5 national championships. They got to have the panhandle accent,
You got to get the in there.
Absolutely.
But the proper way.
Yep.
Not the incessant word filler.
Right.
Yeah, Sittensfeller. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you could throw in an 11. Well,
his wells were good, and his genuine love of other Florida State athletic programs was also cool. And we've documented that many times. Like the waiting to sit around to ask the question at the official start of the press conference and him just kind of engaging with the press beforehand. Did we win?
It's my favorite. And if you told him yes, he looked like a 4-year-old
Like a kid.
sitting on
Yeah.
Santa's lap. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's Santa.
Yeah, that's pride in your school. That's definitely pride in your school. By the way, Tallahassee's own Ludwig Aborg up top the leaderboard with Lanto Griffin at 6 under. Underway now again. Weather was the story yesterday. I also happened to notice, Tom, and I don't know, maybe I've got some pizza money on him, that my man Hideki Matsuyama is storming up the leaderboard.
That he is. This is the third round, everybody. So it's starting to get a little dicey.
Let's go, Hideki.
Ooh, Luke Clanton fell to pieces a little bit.
No, Luke. Second highest profile athlete on Florida State's campus.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we've got
Unbelievable.
both number 1 ranked amateurs in the world, in the golf world. Are
So
here.
cool.
That's not going to happen again, I don't think.
5 Knowles in this tournament. 5 Knowles in this tournament. Now, one of them I know for sure missed the cut, and that would be Daniel Berger. Johnny Pack made the cut. This is how bad the weather was yesterday, everybody. This was normal to see, but I'll use Florida State's own as an example. John Pack shot a 67 in round 1, was in the top 10. He shot a 78 yesterday. Was still good enough to make the cut at +1. Vincent Norman, Florida State, shot a 69 the first day, a 76 the next day. A whole lot of that kind of disparity of round existed yesterday. In fact, I saw some 68s followed up by 82s. Woo, buddy.
Yeah, wind was howling. I don't think it was much easier this morning because Johnny Pack tripled. It looks like after the delay. I don't think he was as low on the leaderboard.
+1 right
last
now,
night.
right?
Yeah, he had a triple to finish out round number 2. Luke is still in there. He's -1, +1 for the day, but he was with about 6 holes to go in his second round in second.
Yeah, he was rolling.
So he's fallen back a little bit. But yeah, 4 out of 5 Knowles made it. Del Solar made it as well. So you got 4 out of 5 Knowles playing the weekend right now. And it looks like the scores are not improving today. A lot of bad numbers out there, a lot of plus numbers.
You know what it gives you a chance to do? Like a jerk, we can all go, well, those Santa Ana wins. I just do it every year when that tournament's played. Well, looks like the Santa Ana's kicking in here now.
In a couple hours' time, you can feel very uncomfortable about that because there's nothing that Jim Nance, outside of Hello Friends, likes to say more than La Jolla.
Oh, he does. Yes.
We'll be back to La Jolla in a minute.
Justin Rose, my friend, who I met at Augusta and was super kind, and thus I always root for. Shot an 80 yesterday, Tom. You don't see pros out here throwing things up in the 80s all that often, and yet, looking at the cut list, 82, 81, 82, 80, 80, 81, 82, 79, 82. A lot of dudes looking like us on a day. I mean, it's crazy.
It's problematic because they haven't had rain out there in a long time, and this particular part of California, just like the one that's ravaged by wildfires, and the wind is kicking up. So that means the course is all dried out. There's nowhere to run. It just everything funnels to the rough. That's it. Good luck. Go make pars.
Something interesting really quick to point out while we're on the subject. It's a short segment here before we get into the third hour, but I do want to bring up that I had a talk with Trey Jones, golf coach, Florida State, good friend of mine. Did a show with him on SiriusXM for 7 years. Really, really learned a lot from him. Just learned a ton about golf and the business of golf, college golf, coaching golf, all that stuff. I'm forever thankful for that. But I was talking to him about the tricky part of Luke Clanton's decisions as an amateur, playing all these tournaments. And then, and we saw it last year, everybody did. He was this close to winning tournaments. He was finishing top 10. Add it all up, I think, from last year, he would have made himself a cool $1 million or thereabouts in prize money. Of course, he's an amateur, so he got no money from it. And then afterwards said, yeah, not only did I not make any money off that, I'm coming back to Florida State next year, and I'm going to try to get us that elusive national championship. So I asked him about that, and he said, well, yeah, to be sure, players in the modern era do have opportunities, even if they can't take prize money from tournament events on tour. They've got set sponsors waiting in the wings and clothing deals and all that kind of stuff that's going to happen.
Now the battle's end is in. I mean, it's strange.
Yeah.
Your amateur status in golf versus what NIL can do. I wonder what the rules are, how they've changed.
Yeah, I don't imagine that you're making too much in NIL for a golf deal. But anyhow, the point would be some people are in a position to be able to do it. But one thing that happens for everybody that does it, that does try to come back, and we've seen like Pearson Coody went back to Texas. Other people have done this before. But one of the hard things is that they continue to play on the tour so that when they come back, a lot of times during the events that the university's playing in, you know, whatever the field may be, you go play, you take on Georgia and Florida and somebody else in an event. You're not getting the version of the guy that plays on the tour on weekends making the cut at all. You're getting an exhausted, brain-fried version of a guy who just played a PGA Tour event, comes back and really has a hard time duplicating the same sort of numbers or efforts that he did on the PGA Tour. And then people go, what's going on? He's so good up there. How come he can't play here? Trey said, most golf coaches don't worry about it because here's what's going to happen. Before they get into the postseason, which they'll make the postseason, of course, then it's sort of all right, now, no events. Let's get right. Let's go to war. And then you'll get the best version of that player. So I've had a couple of people say, like, why does he stink when he plays for us? And he doesn't, but they've noticed he's not the same player. I'm like, well, he's usually pretty exhausted having just come off the tour because he keeps making cuts. It's crazy. It's a good problem to have. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansfornoles.com. That is, again, loansfornoles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Noles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansfornoles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansfornoles.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 373031.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WBFT Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Palmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with two great locations in Tallahassee.
Kansas City Chiefs a 1.5 favorite over the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship game. 47.5 the total. The Chiefs have won 17 straight games as a favorite. Travis Kelce receiving yard prop bet 70 plus receiving yards minus 115. Kelce has had 71 or more receiving yards in 14 straight playoff games for the Chiefs. Philadelphia Eagles laying 6 against the Washington Commanders Sunday at Lincoln Financial Field. 47.5 the total in the NFC Championship game. Buccaneers offensive coordinator Liam Cohen expected to be named the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 100-1 to win next year's Super Bowl. $250 bonus and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
This sandwich is not just spicy, it's flavorful.
Hi, this is Matayo. And this is Elsa. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is that spicy kick. Because the spice comes in at just the right moment.
Oh, no. A little thing I love is that cilantro lime sauce. It's a fun blend of zesty and bold. That's what really makes me happy. Are you going to eat all your fries?
Order a Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich and a Diet Dr. Pepper on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick. Professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
Honey, I'm home.
We're in here, honey.
So why are all my friends here?
Have a seat, Dave. We need to talk about your problem.
Problem? I don't have a problem.
Dave, you do have a problem. A problem with your grill. Here's some pamphlets from Hearth and Patio. They are waiting for your call to help you upgrade your grill.
If you or someone you know needs a grilling intervention, call Hearth and Patio today at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282 or hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
Ever have one of those days where your gut just feels blah?
Ugh, yes.
Occasional bloating or gas could be signs that your gut is out of balance. But Align Probiotic can help. Align 24/7 Digestive Support is a daily use probiotic with a unique strain to help relieve occasional digestive issues. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand. So when you feel the signs, it's time to try Align. Align Probiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing And listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Of the program. I imagine, just as an aside, that the game between Buffalo and Kansas City will be the most watched NFL game of the year. The numbers seem to suggest as much. This is kind of bucking the trends of what is a normal talking point about how it kind of gets old when one team is so frequently in this game. But the truth is, if they're good enough to do it year in and year out, and oh, by the way, this is the 7th consecutive year that the Chiefs are playing in the AFC Championship game. Sweet Jesus. 7 consecutive years? Well, at some point you reach that Yankee status, right? Where people just begin to hate you. And they love to root against the bully. They love to root against the team that wins too much. And those ratings for the regular season game, by the way, between the Chiefs and the Bills, the highest rated football game played this year, that game was on November the 17th. Tom, that drew 31.1 million for a regular season game between Buffalo and Kansas City. If you go back and look at their last 3 postseason games, 2024, the most watched AFC divisional round game ever. 50.4 million viewers. Wow. In 2022, they had the highest in 5 years for the AFC divisional round game. That was Media Watch posted these numbers this morning. 42.7 million for that one. And in 2021, the AFC title game, not huge numbers comparatively, but the lowest, it's still astronomical. It's the lowest for these matchups between Buffalo and Kansas City, 43.3 million.
That's insane. Yeah. That's why you look at the end of the year and they do the grid of the top 100 television broadcasts and ratings for the year. And it's just a bunch of NFL. There's some college sprinkled in there, but it's mostly NFL. If you're talking they might go top 15, top 20. And these numbers are just, they keep growing every year. They seem to keep growing, or if they're stagnant, they're stagnant at such a level that the NFL is untouchable. It is the first, second, third, all the way down to 12th option for advertisers. If you want live TV advertising, you go to the NFL.
It's crazy. Yeah, they've done quite well for themselves, Tom, as we know, and they continue to set records. Kansas City's season opening 27-20 victory over Baltimore drew a record NFL kickoff game audience on NBC. The same network's telecast of the Chiefs' 22-17 victory over the Falcons was NBC's most watched Week 3 Sunday Night Football game. The 26-25 win over the Bengals for the Chiefs in Week 2 was the most watched NFL game in the month of September since 1998. Whew. I don't know that I would have guessed that. Really? I mean, I was excited. I'm thinking back on it now about, we're all reflective on the season now. Now that we're at the end, but yeah, I get it. Burrow Mahomes is always going to draw eyes, just like Burrow and Allen and Burrow and Lamar or Mahomes and Lamar. That's always going to do. We got a quarterback renaissance again here where there's a bunch of really elite future Hall of Famers, and another one is in our midst as a rookie right now.
Yeah, even last week, of the 8, CJ Stroud's the worst of the quarterbacks. We had that exercise last week, and not the worst pocket passer, but just in terms of Q score.
Oh, Q score, sure.
Yeah.
But he's better than Yeah, he's better than Jalen Hurts. But
sure,
yes,
I'm talking about ratings.
Mhm.
You know, the Philadelphia
Sure.
market combined with Hurts is going to do better than Houston and CJ's. Who's that? You know, for the casual fan. But the casual person / fan knows most of these quarterbacks, which is what you're starving for in any sport, is people that transcend beyond the world of sports that they know at home. If you could ask the wife who doesn't care about football or the husband who doesn't care about football, I know who the hell Patrick Mahomes is. I know who the hell Lamar Jackson is or Josh Allen is. Yeah, that's where we are right now. And the numbers keep going. And part of it is, as I understand it from the ratings, you know, there might be a peak number that's higher than the rating, but you need a good game for the rating to go high. So the peak for Ohio State and Notre Dame, I think, was closer to 30.
Yes, and it was in the second quarter.
Right.
Yeah.
But what happened before halftime?
Yeah, the game was over. Everyone's,
you think about the September game that you're referring to, it's 26-25. There's a 2-point conversion at the end. People are going to be locked into the end. So that's why that rating number is just so astronomical.
Yeah, and because it's a salary cap league and you have the best of the best and great coaches, you get a lot. In fact, you get a ton of very close games. This is why it's a fun sport for people. Also, on display every year, we say it every year when we get to this round of the playoffs, because every year there's a team that is not supposed to be here. At the start of the year, nobody thought Washington was going to be in the NFC Championship game. They could very easily go to the Super Bowl. This is a franchise, famous as it is, and once proud as it were, doomed by an ass for an owner and a criminal for an owner that went through the better part of 30 years without doing a damn thing. You had a blip on the radar moment with RG3, and that's it. Nothing. Didn't do a thing. And wondered how long they were going to have to wander in the desert. Well, guess how long? New owner, new GM, new head coach, new DC, new quarterback, all 1 year. Bam, they could go to the Super Bowl. That's how quick it can happen. Now, you need a lot of things to fall in your favor. You got to make the right choices. You got to pick the right guy in the draft. We've seen it now. We now know that even the elite of the elite, in terms of GMs in that league or coaches that have control of personnel, even they fail at roughly a 50-55% clip at picking the right quarterback in the draft. It's hard. It's hard. There are a lot of factors that, we don't see that weigh into this, but there are guys who you didn't think were very good in college who end up being good pros at the toughest position. There are guys who were elite in college, who lit it up, who were the best at what they did at that position, who fail miserably in the NFL, who within 2 years you're going, this is a mistake. He can't play. It's crazy. But the thing that happens in that league that brings everybody back, and these ratings show it every year, is that you're never completely bereft of hope. Your franchise could be butt-ass sorry out here going, these days with the 17-game schedule, out here going 4-13, and you are a head coach and a quarterback away from being 13-4. You win the 24-21 game instead of lose it more often than not at that point.
If you nail it, there's a sense of urgency as well to go get it done in the first, contract of the rookie quarterback because he's so cheap.
All the money you're saving.
He's about to get expensive. That's the thing that Kansas City's doing that's remarkable. Is Mahomes is into year 2 or year 3 of his second deal?
Oh, of the new deal. Yeah.
Right. That's a hell of a lot more expensive and takes up a huge chunk of the cap. Seattle profited off of this greatly, and Russell Wilson's first contract was they were able to get all the pieces in the world to surround him because he wasn't that expensive to a degree, even with the Buccaneers. They had veterans on that team, but Brady came in for 25. That's nothing.
Oh, no.
That's nothing against the cap.
Well, it's double that right now being paid to Jalen Hurts, which seems criminal, but yes.
That gives you an idea. Jimmy Garoppolo was making closer to double of Tom Brady's salary.
Right. Good Lord.
So if you have a cheap quarterback, you feel a sense of urgency. So now for Washington, you enjoy the Cinderella ride. And if it ends on Sunday, it ends. If it goes
you're
another
just getting
week,
started, though.
But now you're going to feel this urgency of, oh, God, we need to surround him with everything we can before we have to pay this dude $65 or $70 million a season.
Well, and I think if you're a Washington fan, the reason you're over the moon right now is you've done it largely because your quarterback has elevated the play of everybody around him. You don't have a bunch of superstars. McLaurin's good, but Ertz was on the verge of retiring. He was out of the league. He's made everybody better around him. He's elevated the stat. Those other receivers, Noah Brown, those guys, whatever.
Ertz and Eckler were all pro 4 years ago.
Right. They were. But they were both basically out of the way. Ertz was done. He was about to announce his retirement. Like, that guy's now a weapon. It's Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels does what great quarterbacks do.
Yeah, they've got him, a really good receiver, okay running backs, good defensive interior. I think we're done. That's. I mean, they have
they're just getting started.
Pieces otherwhere. I'm not saying they're awful in other places, but if you're looking for notables, that's about it. You don't have very many. Your kicker's pretty good. There you go.
You got a freak of a quarterback who is really. I mean, your boy said this on NFL radio yesterday. I heard.
Who's that?
Alex Smith, your favorite player.
Oh, hey, what's up, Alex?
Alex Smith was being interviewed, and he said that he thought that Jaden Daniels has had the greatest rookie season of any NFL quarterback in history.
Well, Alex is trying to climb the analyst ladder, so you do need to take some risks and say some things that are.
But if you think about it, it's not completely crazy.
If you're just speaking on rookies, you've got a conversation here because Mahomes didn't play in his rookie year.
That's right. And then also
because Alex knows something about that.
He does. And then I would point out the other rookie quarterbacks that have ever gotten to this round of the playoffs in their first year were guys that were not asked to win the game. Big Ben got here going, 14 of 21 for $187, and they ran the ball with the bus and played great defense. He wasn't the reason. Jaden Daniels is the reason. He is the reason. Capital THE.
He's the reason for our season if we're Commanders. Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. There's a bunch of other guys where you could go back through history and say, well, what about this guy? What about right.
It might have been
to his point.
Well, a great season on an ass team that loses 10 games, but wow.
Right. To achieve this and be the catalyst for it at that position. Now, there are people who've had better rookie seasons at other positions. That's interesting. I mean, I would have to, we'd all have to sit down and bang our memory banks here and go through every year we've watched football and try to find the counter to that. There may be a few guys. I mean, I know if you get into rookie seasons in other sports, you can find examples where a rookie had a greater impact. But to his point, at that position in NFL history, it's pretty amazing. The point of it is even if you disagree with it.
Yeah. I'm looking. Okay, so the guy I was thinking about was Mr. You-know-who, Russell Wilson. His rookie season was a revelation. He won the job out of camp. It was supposed to be Matt Flynn's job.
Yeah.
And he won the job out of camp. Their seasons are remarkably similar, Russell Wilson and Jaden Daniels, at least from a passer stat. I haven't looked at the rushing stats. I can't imagine Russell ran for 800 yards.
Right.
But 26 touchdowns and 10 picks for Russ, 100 rating, 100.0, and a QBR of 74.8. And for Jaden, it's 25 touchdowns, 9 picks, quarterback rating 100.1, and a QBR of 70.5.
And he ran for 800 yards.
And
they're in the NFC Championship game.
That is correct. Now, yes, QBR does take into account rushing. So it's not that Russ had a bad year.
Yeah.
But, so you've got a couple of
But also road wins in the playoffs over the 1 seed, Detroit, and over the NFC South champions in their stadium in the last second. It's crazy. They went 12-5 in the regular season as well.
Yeah, Russ had a similar season now. They didn't make it to the championship game. They won and beat Washington in the playoffs in the wild card. I guess that might have been the I'm going to punch you in your damn face game.
Oh, that's a great one.
Trent Williams has been around forever.
Yes, he has.
And he was just okay there. They lost to Atlanta in the divisional round. Did rookie Russ Wilson to Atlanta 30-28. He threw for 385 and 2 touchdowns in that game. Did Russ? He ran for 60 more and a touchdown. I think we've got our comp.
It's a good comp. Jaden's had a better year though.
They've gotten farther,
just barely.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine they go to the damn Super Bowl.
It's not hard to.
No,
the weather's not supposed to be bad on Sunday.
And they, like I said, the statistic blew me away today. I was looking at those numbers. 4 games that the Commanders gave up over 200 yards rushing. They went 3-1 in those games. And you got to figure anybody right now playing Philadelphia is stacking the box and telling Jalen Hurts, I don't think you can make the throws. And I'm making him do it because you know that Saquon can beat you. You have to take that away. Make Jalen Hurts beat you. Make him beat you with his legs because he's hurt, and make him throw the ball accurately, repeatedly, down the field over and over again. Now, he did it in the Super Bowl, and we've seen other times in which he's done it. It's not to say it's not in there. It's been in there, but it hasn't been in there in a long time. Philadelphia fans are kind of like, we're winning in spite of our guy under center here. Go. They're like Bucs fans kind of looking around at each other like, man, I know this guy won the division again, but I don't know. Meaning Todd Bowles.
Right, well, I'm looking at the Denver game. I'm looking at the Carolina game. I'm looking at the last game with New Orleans.
Yeah, where they just don't. Yeah, are we just not going to show up today?
That Denver game, especially. Oh, we're all golfing. Okay, these guys are just, their minds are on the course.
I know, man. It's funny how that works, though. But their defense in Philadelphia is unbelievable, and they run the ball, and they're old school, and they've got an elite offensive line, and they make you earn it on the other side. Like, you aren't going to hit big plays against Philly's defense, so you got to be patient and hang in there. And one thing I will say, Philadelphia did not get to the passer last week. I mean, over and over again, the Rams Stafford dropped back, and I think it was over 40 times, and they didn't have a single sack until the Jalen Carter play, right?
Right, yeah. Well, Stafford also knows the drill. He'll get the ball out if he needs to. But yes,
I mean,
there were some times where you're going, ooh.
Did you see that Orlovsky did a really good job of breaking down the all-22 on the Jalen Carter play? Mm-mm. It's a touchdown. It's a walk. They're going to win the game. Wide open when he breaks free and he has to duck down. It's a touchdown. It's a slant. He's going to walk into the end zone. And Stafford sees it. He's getting the ball. His eyes are big, like, I got it. And then he has to duck because he's about to get crushed. There's a case where a singular dude winning that matchup so decisively saved your season. That's crazy.
I'm just having a hard time because you're talking about rookie seasons and Alex Smith's career. I can remember his last start for
You're
Kansas
starting to
City.
long for Alex again.
Kelsey dropped a wide open pass over the middle, and then he got hurt on the play, and he ends up leaving the game, and they have a key fumble later with Orson Charles. Remember him?
No, I hadn't until just now.
Well, I do, because he screwed Alex Smith. And I remember people who screw
the great Alex.
That's right. Many defenses have his teammates.
Who was the man on the tackle that ravaged his leg?
Oh, well.
You must hate him.
I suppose I do. Chase Utley, I'm sure.
Oh, that is well played, sir. You guys need an ad board letting people know what you do, where your business is located, and how they can help you. Go see my men at Tried and True Consulting. As good people doing great work in our community and beyond, I should say. But if you have a dental office where you've got, televisions in the waiting room, same thing goes for a car showroom or anything like that. They'll come put up this ad board for you, control it from afar. You get 2/3 of that screen to do whatever you want with. They'll have their other advertisers along the bottom, and everybody's making money and doing well. You give them a call, Don or Joe, today. Saving you some money, making you some money, and giving some back to the Battle's End, which is nice, 10% of their net revenue. In fact, 844-463-6653, 844-463-6653.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLR 373031.
Tallahassee's 30-year-old Funny Paper and American Legion Post 13 have joined forces to become Major Morale. The new magazine has 4 more pages of post activities and military information that you probably never knew. But don't worry, it's still as politically correct and newsworthy as always. Okay, it's the same funny stuff, but it's still only available at the sponsors' locations like Keith Lawson Services, Tallahassee Automobile Museum, ABC Flooring, or Krispy Kreme Donuts. The country's best donut place has great different monthly specialty donuts like Ghirardelli, Oreo, Chips Ahoy, and too many more to mention. Sign up online at KrispyKreme.com for exclusive email discounts or download the app that lets you pile up rewards every time you order ahead. Krispy Kreme, America's favorite donut.
Learn how thousands of smart homeowners are investing about $1 to avoid expensive home repair bills. John, a former non-customer, said, "My air conditioner broke and I had to spend $1,900 to fix it." Jeff, a customer, wrote, "My air conditioner broke and I got a new one at no out-of-pocket cost." Mary, a former non-customer, wrote, "My heating system stopped running. I had to spend $3,000 to get a new one." Lisa, a customer, wrote, "My heater stopped working. I got it fixed at no out-of-pocket cost." For about $1 a day, you can have all the major appliances and systems in your home guaranteed fixed or replaced with HSC's home warranty coverage. Call now, and the first month is free. If the lines are busy, please call back. 800-826-9149. 800-826-9149. That's 800-826-9149. 800-826-9149.
When disaster strikes, the food supply is the first domino to fall.
This is G. Deckerhoff. In 1979, my friend Guy Moore opened his first store. Over 45 years later, Garnet & Gold is still providing the Seminole Nation with unique ways to show their spirit. As the last locally owned FSU merchandise source in Tallahassee, we're proud to be a part of the Florida State experience and this community. If you're a Seminole like me, this is your store. Garnet & Gold. Go Noles.
Kit at mypatriotsupply.com. They're an American company trusted by millions, offering 2,000 calories per day with essential vitamins and minerals to keep you strong during a crisis. This food will be there for you when you need it, since it lasts up to 25 years and can ship out to you next day. Go to mypatriotsupply.com now to get $50 off your 4-week emergency food kit. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Oh, what I wouldn't love to do to have like 25 spoofs of that last commercial. We could have so much fun with that.
Mine was not burning yesterday. It was okay. I caught it in time before it was burning.
Oh, your supply?
My Patriot supply. I told you we needed to go.
Oh, that's good. I guess I should relay this. I told Tom about it. I think I've said this before on the air, but maybe I haven't. Over at Warchant, in the various forums that they have, I didn't realize that people were hanging out talking in the locker room, and so I went in there to see what people were talking about. And the first thread that I saw was somebody asked a question of another member of Warchant about where Creed played when they were coming up in Tallahassee, and so I was laughing because I remember them playing at Floyd's, and I remember all that sort of thing, and I was like, I wonder what people said. So I went in there, and then it hit me that I don't know that I've told anybody the story, but I did in that locker room forum. They had a manager / producer did Creed the band, and his name was Jeff Cameron. And I was living in an apartment when I was single back in those days as that band was coming up. And I had no idea that there was another guy in the city named Jeff Cameron. I had no idea that what he did. I didn't know anything about him. And there weren't cell phones back then. Oh, what a simpler time, Tom Lang. No cell phones to speak of. You just went about your day and did stuff.
Yeah. When you were gone, you were gone.
You were gone.
Nobody could get you.
Nobody knew what you were doing. Anyhow, so phone rings in the apartment, and I pick it up and say hello. It used to be a great mystery who was calling you. You had no idea who was on the other end. Sometimes you were apprehensive to answer the phone for the thought that it could be your boss or somebody you didn't want to talk to. So I pick up the phone. It's in the evening. I can remember that in my sorry little apartment. And I say hello, and the guy on the other end goes, "Is this Jeff Cameron?" It was kind of like a weird, not a hello or anything. And I go, "Yes." And I'm thinking, man, this must be a bill collector. I owe somebody money. This is not good. And I said, "Yes."
Teddy Three Thumbs is calling you.
Well, we hadn't made it as a talk show host yet, Tom. We were struggling. We were on the struggle bus. And anyhow, I said, yeah. And the guy proceeds to tell me that we're all set. You're all set, man. Somebody dropped out and you're good to go. You'll be going on after Our Lady Peace. And I'm kind of sitting there silent, like, what the hell is this guy talking about? And I knew Our Lady Peace was a band, but I didn't know what this guy was talking about. And I'm like, what? He goes, "Chef Cameron, Tallahassee?" "Yes." I'm like, he was like, he's aggressive, And I go, "Yeah, man, I don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "The festival. I told you, we're good. The band's in." So over the course of that conversation, I find out that Creed was playing on a set with 4 or 5 other bands. I guess, and the real Jeff Cameron, the other Jeff Cameron could tell you, but I think he just died. So this is why I bring this up. Anyhow, he could have told you what it was, but I had no idea. They're talking about playing with a bunch of other bands, and I guess somebody got bumped, and then Creed was allowed to be.
Is this the Jeff Cameron mix-up on social media with Greg?
Well, yes, that did happen recently. It's that guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Greg saw on social media
that Jeff Cameron had died.
Jeff Cameron was dead.
Yeah, and he was like, "No." Yeah, that was awfully sweet of him to say. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely baffled. This guy's getting angry with me. Like, "We've already talked about this. You're good. They're in. The band will be ready. Yeah, you're good." And I don't know what he's talking about. And then I figured it out. He tells me somehow Creed gets mentioned. I'm like, okay, he's talking about Creed, a music festival. The concert's in Texas. I remember that. It's in Texas. And so I'm just like, what? And I'm like, "You got the wrong number." He's like, "I do not have the wrong. You're Jeff Cameron of Tallahassee, right?" "Yes." "Yeah. You're the manager of Creed?" No, I'm not. I don't like Creed, and I'm not the manager of Creed. And anyhow, he's like, "What?" We were both in shock. He goes, "There's a guy named Jeff Cameron there with Creed in Tallahassee, buddy." And I was like, "Well, I had no idea, but I'm not him." Then he was like, "Oh, all right, I'll keep looking." And that was it. We hung up. It was just kind of weird. I sat there. I really tried to play it out so that I could have had a hand in negotiating a better deal or something like that, but I lost my nerve. I really did. I was like, once I realized what he was talking about, I was kind of like, I wonder how long I could keep this going. Okay, well, listen, the only thing is about the rider. Do you have the sweet tea? Because we need to talk a little. Last time, I didn't see anything about the tea that the band needs. What about the Skittles? No green Skittles. I wanted to do a bunch of things, but I couldn't.
Tomato juice, 67 degrees. If it's a degree warm, we walk. And the money's guaranteed and up front. Yeah? Up front?
So, listen, here's my address. Send me the check. The band likes to do business through me. I'm the one.
Right. Made payable to Jeff Cameron.
Jeff Cameron cashes the checks. Trust me on this one. Doesn't matter to you, right? Send that to me. $57,000.
I'll accept it with arms wide open.
Well played.
Well,
I don't
because
think
you
they've
need to
written
sell
that
it
yet, but yeah.
Oh, no, it's this new song. You're not ready for it.
Yeah.
Wait till you hear with arms wide open.
They'll close with it at the festival when they go on right after Our Lady Peace, right? Yeah. How good is that?
OLP. I love Our Lady Peace. OLP.
I missed our chance, man. How much fun would that have been? If I could, and then I could have called me like, "Hey, Jeff, it's Jeff. I just worked out a great deal for you guys," pretending to be you. But look what I got for the band. Tomato juice, 67 degrees, no green Skittles.
And a 20% increase.
What a rider. You can go back in history and look at those old riders. They have people will take pictures of those too, where the band actually filled it out. Yeah, I don't think so, live spectator. I don't think I could have dealt with Scott. I couldn't have done it.
If I recall from high school, I remember a segment on the morning radios down there in Tampa, and it was Gwen Stefani's that was the weirdest rider.
Oh, was it?
It had list upon list of things that had to be executed perfectly or she walks. But it was...
I'd be like, go easy. You're Gwen Stefani.
Look, Gwen had a run there.
Yeah, I know, but good God.
She broke off into her solo act from No Doubt, and she had a bunch of top 5 hits for a few years there. But yeah, if I recall, I believe it was her. Because I remember the teaser in the segment was solo female artist who has the craziest rider. Who do you think it is? And we came
Everybody's
back
yelling.
well,
Yeah.
you think of Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera or Jessica Simpson or Mandy Moore. It was Gwen. Okay. Strange. I believe she had the tomato juice provision. That's where I get
That's where you got that from?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim Morrison's just said heroin.
he and your guy from the band. What's his name?
Oh, the keyboardist who just died? Or no, Levon Helm.
Levon, yeah.
Poor Levon. I'll never besmirch Levon. It's Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Tallahassee police are investigating after skeletal human remains were found last week in the capital city. The department is working with the Office of the Medical Examiner in Leon County to try to identify the remains and determine other information, including the events leading up to the death. Residents discovered the remains on Friday, January 17th, beyond the tree line in a neighborhood near Blairstone Forest on the southeast end of the capital city. Police say the case is still open and they declined to share any further details at this time. A house fire left one person deceased early Wednesday morning on Supreme Court. The fire unfolded just after 4 a.m. Crews responded to the scene and found heavy fire coming from a single-story home. Firefighters immediately began to put out the fire while protecting the surrounding area. However, the fire department said one person was found deceased on scene. The cause of the fire is under investigation. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
Continuing to gradually warm up to end the week, warmer to start off next week with highs back into the 60s, approaching the 70s next week. Staying dry with plenty of sunshine. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 25. Saturday, sunny with a high of 53, low of 27. Sunday, sunny with a high of 60. Slight chance of rain on Monday with a high of 64. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too, call Paul's. They'll get them all.
Fresh Florida strawberries. First in the nation, handpicked from the berry belt of Florida, these magnificent morsels are the holiday season's sweetest gift. Spectacular smoothies, tempting tiramisus, cupcakes, cheesecakes, or shortcakes. They're all long in flavor when Florida strawberries are in the mix. With sunshine in every bite, they turn any meal into a memorable moment. To see what Florida strawberries can do for you, visit freshfromflorida.com today.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Weekend gets underway very shortly, for me anyhow, as it will be 4. But you know what else happens at 4? The release of Florida State's first scheduled ACC opponent. That's we'll find out who the first ACC opponent is at 4 o'clock. A little bit of a leak at 4 o'clock is when we get the information. Tom and I are going to do a segment on it. Not live on the air, but right afterwards.
As long as ACC PM, the program doesn't drag it out too long. The implications of it are interesting because this year is a 2 bye-week year. So last year we had 3 because of Dublin, of course. But we have 2 bye weeks. Florida State has scheduled games for August 30th, Alabama, we all know. September 6th for East Texas A&M / Texas A&M Commerce. Then the 20th against Kent State. So there's an opening on the 13th of September. Does Florida State have an opponent there, or do we play the week after Kent State, which would let us know that we have a bye week? So there's a couple of dominoes that could fall today, or they could just slot it into we play September 13th, and we now know our first third of the season.
There was a rumor that we were going to move that Eastern Commerce game to week 0.
Yeah, I don't know where they got that because you have to have an opponent that plays off continent in order for that to be possible. At this point, week 0 games cannot be played unless there's somebody's going going to Hawaii or they're going to Europe.
I had no idea of that.
And that's usually how the week 0 thing works. I'm not sure how we got Duquesne a couple of years ago. I guess they left. I don't know.
Duquesne? There's zero chance Duquesne will play.
That's the provision that's typically there. Anyway, yesterday's ACC leak was week 0, week 1. You did not have Commerce, A&M Commerce in that week 0 list. So they're locked in for September the 6th where we had them originally.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I really wanted them to do it. I was hoping the rumor was true. I really, really wanted us to have a warm-up game running 2 brand new systems before you play Alabama. I think it would be ideal. Didn't happen, obviously. So, bummer. Going to have to be ready. But I think that would be wise. Damn it, man. The fact that we play Alabama, the fact that it's a new play caller at the helm, the fact that we have a new defense, the fact that we're walking into a newly renovated stadium that you and I have had the pleasure of watching be torn down and slowly built back up. With every practice that we attended, you could see the progress. It feels a little bit like your baby, like, oh, I can't wait to see what they've done with it. And so Alabama being the marquee what the team that they are, brand that they are, if you will, stadium renovations, new coaching staff, getting the bad taste out of your mouth from a year ago. This is going to be an interminable offseason. We say it every year for different reasons. It's going to be tough on me. I really am excited to see what we are. I'm not even talking about whether we win the game, lose the game. I'm just talking about all of that in one game. Seems crazy. Seems a bit much. Would have been mitigated a little bit by being able to play a warm-up game ahead of time in the stadium week 0.
Well, chances are that game, if you do play the 13th, certainly would be on the road. You wouldn't play 4 straight home games. I
wouldn't think.
You wouldn't want to. You'd want to spread out home games for later in the season. I think you want that roadie to be slotted in on the 13th because you play Alabama and then you get one of those recap games. You go into the film room after it's over, clean up what you need to clean up. You take care of East Texas A&M / Commerce.
Right.
And then you get ready for your first ACC opponent. And then once again, you play Kent State right after that. And you have a chance to clean things up and then be prepared for the bulk of the schedule. So I think I'd rather there be a game on the 13th and then spend your 2 bye weeks later in the year if at all possible.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Well, I'm assuming that we'll see that, in fact, it's true. This first ACC opponent will be on the 13th, but likely would be a roadie. Maybe NC State would fit the bill there. That might be one that fits the bill.
Do you have a team you'd want to play that you really would like in the league?
If it's going to be a roadie.
Yeah, a roadie.
Let me see what Florida State's roadies are. I know NC State's one of them. I'd rather play there earlier than later.
God, it never seems to matter. We always struggle there. So frustrating.
Yeah, we did even in 14. Well, we struggled with everybody in 14. That was early in the season against Jacoby Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
On the road, ACC-wise, this year we have NC State, Stanford, and Virginia.
Well, listen, I'm excited about the road Stanford game because I'd like to go out to it. But Trying to think weather-wise.
Would you want to burn that earlier? It'll be good weather in September. You could get a break in September.
Yeah, it would be good weather out there then. Yeah, that's not bad. What were the games again? Stanford and who? NC State? Who else?
Virginia.
Maybe Virginia.
I think
I think Virginia sounds good.
So one of our posters on the boards, FSU 91, put the 3 teams that don't have non-conference games scheduled for that weekend. I think we're connecting the dots here. Clemson, Wake, and NC State. But 2 of those would be home opponents. You don't want a home game for 4 in a row. So I think NC State has to be the answer if you're playing on the 13th.
Well, there we go. No need to do the segment.
That's
We're
right.
done here.
Let's break it down. What are the implications of this game? Or you have a bye week. Or you have a bye.
You know what is funny, though? This has absolutely happened. I've always talked about the system. I've always talked about the things that, I used to do before a season began and the process, right? You have to love the process. If you're an athlete, Jimbo and other coaches would always tell you, hey, you got to love to grind. You got to love all that stuff. Well, one of the things I always loved was, going to the bookstore, sitting down with the preseason mags, kind of going conference by conference, seeing the rosters, who's coming in, who left, all that. But now it's that on steroids. It's not the same process anymore. And who knows what anybody is year for year. That's the hardest thing. It used to be that you kind of went into that process that I'm describing and had an understanding of, I just need to check the offensive line. I just need to see how many starters are they getting back on defense? When do they play their Clemson game? How closely is it to ours? Like little things like that. Now you're like, I don't know who plays where. Let's start all over. I mean, they got 32 new players.
And to clean one thing up, I suppose it could be Clemson. Clemson's on the road. FB Schedules usually has it stacked home and away. They don't for whatever reason in the situation. So I don't want to play the Clemson game 2 weeks after Bama, though. They're going to be good enough. And Klubnik's coming back, so you do know that much.
Well, they're going to be good, period. They have good players. So this would be a problem. If you have to play Alabama and Clemson 2 of the first 3 weeks,
that
go to hell.
That would be a no thank you.
That's a BS assignment. You saw, everybody, we went 2-10 last year. Let's not do that.
Let's not start 1-2.
No, let's not start with potential beatdowns. I'm not saying we will lose those games, but
all things being equal, it'd be nice to have. If you're going to play Alabama, can we have a ramp up after that?
You got no game before Alabama. You've got no spring game. Buddy, we're going to have a bunch of live scrimmages. Let's get it on. Which is, something everybody holds their breath with. Please let us know, writes Bob, when the JCS golf tourney will be scheduled. If invited, coming from Cali, and would like to play in soon. Yeah, well, everybody's invited, Bob, to play. Once we make the announcement, you're invited, just like everybody else is invited. Get signed up and come on in. And in fact, we are very close to letting you guys know when that tournament is going to be. We know it's going to be in April. So you can tentatively schedule then. We know it's going to be in April. We just don't know which week.
Maintenance schedules and so forth with the course. This is something we go through every year, and we'll get the answers when we get
but we will know them soon.
Soon.
I think we'll probably know at some point next week, and we'll announce it. Whatever. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. It always is. It's been a great marriage, though, too, with the Second Harvest now. But the Big Ben, all the great work that they do, and the folks that they have gotten together to work with us. It's just been huge. And I think this is the year. In fact, I know I was talking about Tried and True Consulting earlier. That I think this is the year, my man. We get 2 tournaments. I think Tried and True is going to sponsor one as well
in the fall.
In the fall. We need to
that's going to help when we get the full ACC schedule for Florida State as well. That will be helpful for Tried and True's scramble.
That will be very much so. The fall one, the weather will be awesome. Could be a little nippy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Sometimes ours is.
It has been before, yeah.
It has been. It's been in the 50s in the morning. And then by the time you get to about the 4th or 5th hole of the day, you shed the layers.
Let's do some red zone, man. We got to get to it. Artisan Financial Strategies. I don't know what we're going to do in terms of coming up with first down, second down, third down, fourth down. We're running out. We're going to have to switch sports for red zone material here soon enough. But if you'd like, you can cue it up and we'll get started.
Welcome to the majesty.
Every freaking rep.
The elegance.
To win the game. Oh, he hits the upright. It's no good.
You have entered.
Someone burned down the funeral home. You burnt the funeral home.
Lives will be changed.
Sideline. Touchdown. Unbelievable!
Mothers will cry.
When you see your players give all that they have and you lose that way, it's tough.
Legacies are etched into eternity.
I know who I am.
North, South Dakota was his brother from West Virginia.
This is the Red Zone.
That's good to know.
NoleRetirement.com. My man Adam and his team at Artisan Financial Strategies await your call and or email submission so that they can help you prepare for the retirement red zone, right? Planning experience of over 30 years for that group, by the way, their expertise, their resources, all of it. Our fellow Noel, Adam Tolliver and his gang, Artisan Financial Strategies, the best in the business, NoleRetirement.com. First down, Tommy, where we going, baby?
All right, tough one here. But we could do some heavy lifting. On Tuesday, 2 o'clock, Florida State's first wave of newcomer interviews.
Yes, it is, and I'm excited.
Yes, Thomas Castellanos, Luke Pettibone, Squirrel White. Most excited to hear from whom and why?
Thomas Castellanos, your quarterback's the most important player on offense, most important player arguably in your organization. You need leadership from that position. You need belief. You need talent. You need a guy to be dynamic. You need Castellanos to come in here and win the players over, the fans over. You want it all. I'm picking the obvious answer, Thomas Castellanos.
All right, second down question related to this. A week later, Old Biscuit will get a newcomer interview.
Does he?
Should Biscuit have been given a newcomer interview after being at the program, leaving the program, and coming back?
It depends on how brave people want to be, but can you just ask the question to Biscuit? What happened? What happened, man? Because you were a thing and a good player that was ascending until suddenly you weren't. Then you were in a doghouse. You never got out. Rumors were you were too fat to play, and they were upset with your nutrition choices. And you left because you were obviously frustrated with the lack of playing time. You took it to Arizona State. You didn't do a damn thing there. And then you came back here, and I've seen you be a good player. So what gives? What happened? Yes, I'm excited to hear from him. I always liked him. I did. I always thought he could serve a useful role for you too, especially as a blocker. But it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say about that.
Third down. By the end of the season, it's a lot of projection here. But Squirrel White comes into Florida State. Here's context before the question. Comes into Florida State with over 1,600 yards receiving in his career. Deuce Robinson, about half that.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you expect to have more yards this season when it's all said and done? Deuce Robinson or Squirrel White?
Oh, that's a good one. Good question, Tom. I think both can be very explosive. We really set up the big play with those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Because you could have Squirrel against the slot corner, which is how he makes his money, and because Hakeem's on one side, or a large receiver, and Deuce Robinson is on the other. Yeah, Squirrel's going to be in some advantageous matchups.
He is.
Goes against corner one.
I'm still going to go Deuce.
Okay.
I think, I'm still going to go Deuce.
All right.
I'm wrestling with that one. Fourth down. The defensive lineman not named Darrell Jackson that you're most excited to see this season in a 3-3-5. They'll run forward down as well, but your thoughts on that? What's the kid from Nebraska that came over?
James Williams?
Yeah. That's the answer.
Okay. I'm curious about that one because he's 225. Now he'll have time to have gotten in the gym, and that'll be somebody we look at in tour of duty, but a little undersized.
I'm curious to see how they're going to use everybody, though. I love the fact that they're bringing in some guys that have produced and have played at a high level. So really, you could probably name any one of those guys, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm with you. Darrell Jackson is the answer, but you took it off the board
because he's a known
commodity.
But
I want to see how he. Yeah, I think we may get a version of Darrell Jackson from Jump Street this year that we haven't seen.
All right, bonus down.
Oh wow,
bonus down. Elijah Herring, Stephon Thompson.
Elijah Herring.
Okay, yeah. The linebacker you're most excited to see is Elijah Herring.
It's not close.
You'll hear from him on Thursday.
Yeah, he's a beast.
We'll have audio from Elijah Herring on Thursday during the show because that's an 11 a.m. availability.
Let's go. I hope he's quirky. I hope he's weird and dangerous.
One-word answers?
Yeah, I hope we're like, oh, damn, I don't know about this guy.
like deep nasal breathing and nodding like, mm-hmm.
I want him, yes, like an intense sort of dude, right? Yes.
And
You're
he
like,
dropped with an and.
Yeah, I want to be uneasy. I want to feel like there's a chance he could commit a crime. All right, we've got our linebacker. I don't know if he's going to end the year going to the league or jail. This is going to be great. No, I want quirky on the edge. Could maybe kill somebody at linebacker.
Always mistakes the question as a personal dig.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
You're like, oh, man, come on now. I wasn't trying. Yeah.
Just asking what your goals were with Josh Storms. What do you mean by that?
You think I have to lose weight, get bigger? You think I'm weak?
You don't think I'm strong enough?
No, I think you're plenty strong. I think you look very strong. Yeah.
I like this guy.
Yeah, this guy's awesome. Everything's a perceived threat. NoreTirement.com, Artisan Financial Strategy. Speaking of being wise with your finances, get signed up with our friends at Rocket Money, baby. I did it. Tom has done it. I'm saving a lot. You can save a lot. Rocket Money has over 5 million users currently. They've saved over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. You know, we've all signed up for the thing. You're like, oh, got to do the thing. Or I got to watch the game, but I don't want their service. Well, I'll sign up and cancel. And then you forget to cancel. Next thing you know, $30 a month out the door. You don't even realize you're subscribed to it. You're getting emails and things from something. Nothing alerts you. You're like, what's going on here? Oh, I'm paying $30 to whatever. Yeah, don't do that.
Pizza money is meant for wagers.
That's correct.
And for pizza, not for subscriptions you don't use.
Correct. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions, in fact, and reach your financial goals this year faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/gameon today. That's rocketmoney.com/gameon, rocketmoney.com/gameon. There you go. Good job, Rocket Money. Saving us money.
I thought I answered the bell in the red zone today. What do you think? I summoned it.
I was pretty impressed. I thought it could have been shaky. I thought you might have a little Jake Elliott in you going into that red zone, but no.
Who do you think the backup second baseman is going to be this year for Lake?
Hey, we are really close to Florida State baseball beginning. Ooh. I may have the full schedule for the ACC, buddy.
You're kidding. I'm sure you were told not to release it.
I was, but I may know it.
Yeah. Well, that means I'll know it.
I always
get your bye-week plane tickets ready to go.
I always like to know these things. We all do. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the football. Be well, and we will talk to you on Monday. Until then, peace.